wander to the scene. The bird lay lost to biting frost amidst the prickly thorns. On a $1 billion dream, $1 billion dream, $1 billion dream. In one fell swoop, the bird was down, trapped amidst the prickly thorns. No flap of wing, no piteous song. It got there on a journey to glory. When it fell, only heaven knew. It never made a sound. It lay with silent, weeping breath in darkness all around. On a $1 billion dream, $1 billion dream, $1 billion dream. The fight. Don't give up the fight. Don't give up the fight. Don't give up the fight. No memory of the soaring skies could comfort the poor thing. It lay in wait for hope to die, would give it leave to sing. The world went on, no restless eyes wander to the scene. The bird lay lost to biting frost amidst the prickly thorns. On a $1 billion dream, 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 $1 billion dream. But will you get up? Will you stand up? Will you stand up for your rights? Will you get up? Will you stand up? Don't give up the fight. 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 I will spread my wings and fly away, soaring on the remnants of the day. Though the world seems so full and gray, I will see the light of a new day, new day, new day, new day. A new day, new day, new day, new day. A new day, new day, new day, new day. We all got a dream. We all got a dream. Will you get up? Will you stand up? Don't give up the fight. Peace in my afro like the night sky. All the constellations in my eyes. Caramel dripping melanated. Luscious, delicious, undiluted. Look at my hair, look at my skin. Camera zoom in, look at the skin. Black is a spectrum, penny got the shade. Winning every deck, no you can't join no shade. I got the melanin on fleek. Soon as I'm watching, just get sick. Dropping in my DMs all week. Got a melanin on fleek. So we got big vibes at the old place, man. Girl, where you come from, Trinidad? Your body's so good, but your wine's so bad. Bad, 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 bad. I got the melanin on fleek. Soon as I'm watching, just get sick. Dropping in my DMs all week. Got a melanin on fleek. So we got big vibes In one fell swoop, the bird was down. Trap the meats, the prickly thorns. No flap of wing, no piteous song. It got there on a journey to glory. When it fell, only heaven knew. It never made a sound. It lay with silent weeping breath. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Lady gone, now where she gone? Down the road and it take her down. Die she head and take, she so. Under the moon, the lady gone. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 the lady gone. Ay, 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 ay. Under the moon, the lady gone.
I was chosen. Give me life, give me life. I'm unfolding. Shine my light, shine my light. Ooh. Amongst you can lay the blues. You are chosen. Give me life, give me life.
Lady gone, now where she gone? Down the road and it take her down. Die she head and take, she so. Under the moon, the lady gone. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 the lady gone. Ay, 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 ay. Under the moon, the lady gone.
On the go now. I'm alive, I'm alive. What you know now? I'm alright, I'm alright. Ooh, amongst you can feel the blues. You are golden. You're alive, you're alive.
Lady gone, now where she gone? Down the road and it take her down. Die she head and take, she so. Under the moon, the lady gone. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 the lady gone. Ay, 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 ay. Under the moon, the lady gone. Go to see, go to love. Not so good, not so bad. Go to see, go to love. She just pack up and she gone. Go to see, go to love. Not so good, not so bad. Go to see, go to love. Under the moon, the lady gone. Lady gone, now where she gone? Down the road and it take her down. Die she head and take, she so. Under the moon, the lady gone. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 the lady gone. Ay, 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 ay. Under the moon, the lady gone. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay.
Angel, hey Addy, we bury them deep from them have no loyalty. But your friends we keep, but your people you trust. Cause human beings only take what they want. Not for them a friend killer. Not for them a friend killer. Some just cut them off, cut them off. Block them out, block them out. Yeah, man. Lock them off, cut them off, Trey. I thank you, Jaja, for opening my eyes to see some humans I had around me. Now for them, they only had bad intentions. While, but what I'm doing? Now for them, when they sing at the fade, they're hypocrites, but not pretend. Lock them off like them deep in a jail. For them, friend killer. For them a friend killer. Some just cut them off, cut them off. Block them out, block them out. Yeah, man. Lock them off, cut them off, Trey. Call yourself my DJ brethren. Still you wouldn't play, but tune in a dance. Say you wait until it well hot, must bust. Then you're gonna give the artist a chance. Fire burn them type of boys. Me no need them help in a life. And he come give me a beat and a mic. Hey, Jocko, link up the show, let me go live. What your friends we keep, what your people you trust. Cause human beings, hey, Trinidad, they only take what they want. Friend killer. No for them a friend killer. Me no need none of them. I say me no need no friends. Me no need none of them. Where Jah can't take me, man can't, man can't. Where Jah can't take me, angel must make it in a life. Friend killer, no for them friend killer. So me just cut them off, cut them off. Block them out, block them out. Yeah, me lock them off, cut them off, cut them off. Big up to my real ones. R.I.P. Chopper, Chester Gordon, Mama Laura, my brother Jason, Taisha, Lala, Shawna Lee. Hey Butch, big up my real ones. Daryl, Smitty. Me no need new friends. Cut them off, cut them off. Lock them off, lock them out. Yeah, me lock them off, lock them off. Cut them off, cut them off. Trade. Cut them off, trade. I thank you, Jaja. Hey, Trinidad, they only take what they want. Cut them off, trade. Big up to my real ones. R.I.P.
He said my afro like the night sky, all the constellations in my eyes. Caramel dripping, melanated, that's just delicious, undiluted. Look at my hair, look at my skin, camera zoom in, look at the skin. Like it's a spectrum, Penny got the shades, winning every deck, no you can't join no shade. I got the melanin on fleek, soon as I watch me just get sick. Dropping in my DMs so weak, got a melanin on fleek. So we got big vibes on the old place, man. Girl, where you come from, Trinidad? Your body's so good, but your wine so bad. Bad, 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 bad. I got the melanin on fleek, soon as I watch me just get sick. Dropping in my DMs so weak, got a melanin on fleek. So we got big vibes on the old place, man. Girl, where you come from, Trinidad? Your body's so good, but your wine so bad. Bad, 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 bad. Say my lips look like Lupita. Wanna fly me out to Africa. Want me to meet a spine mama. Say I look richer than Wakanda. Look at my glow, look at my eyes. I am the trophy, you want the prize. Well, be my lover, be my best friend. Love that we got, he don't want it to end. I got the melanin on fleek, soon as I watch me just get sick. Dropping in my DMs so weak, got a melanin on fleek. So we got the vibes on the old place, man. Girl, where you come from, Trinidad? Your body's so good, but your wine so bad. Bad, 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 bad. I got the melanin on fleek, soon as I watch me just get sick. Dropping in my DMs so weak, got a melanin on fleek. So we got the vibes on the old place, man. Girl, where you come from, Trinidad? Your body's so good, but your wine so bad. Bad, 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 bad. I got the melanin on fleek, soon as I watch me just get sick. Dropping in my DMs so weak, got a melanin on fleek. So we got the vibes on the old place, man. Girl, where you come from, Trinidad? Your body's so good, but your wine so bad. Bad, 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 bad. I got the melanin on fleek, soon as I watch me just get sick. Dropping in my DMs so weak, got a melanin on fleek. So we got the vibes on the old place, man. Girl, where you come from, Trinidad? Your body's so good, but your wine so bad. Bad, 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 bad.
All to me, give your all to me. Got me singing melodies like na 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 na. No holding
back, girl, let it go. Yeah, I know that you want me, What you really want, boy, let me know. Come and see how you are, look for my wine on my body. Cause it right now that I found somebody. If I give it up, don't tell nobody. Don't play with the thing, boy. Tell me when you're ready, boy. You know right now that I want you. Don't play around now. You know just what to do. You want to me. Give your all to me, got me singing melodies like na 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 na. Your all to me, give your all to me, got me singing melodies like na 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 na. Boy, I get it right now, and you know I get it right now. Come bring that thing for me. Oh, could you handle me? Because when I back it up on you, grind it up on you, don't be shy when I push back. Hold me tight when I wind back. I could tell that you like that. You know right now that I want you. Don't play around now. You know just what to do. You want to me, give your all to me. Got me singing melodies like na 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 na. You want to me, give your all to me. Got me singing melodies like na 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 na. You want to me, give your all to me. Got me singing.
Caribe Hard Cider. Moments made extraordinary.
Come to my place, baby, let's have a staycation. Let me take you away on a vacation. Please don't get lost when I send you my location. I got a place for you, baby. Please say yes, and if not, maybe.
You got that mind that will lead me. I might go astray. Let me rest my head on you, baby, before we leave. Okay. I can get over the feeling. I can get over the way I can get over the way you lie.
Come to my place, baby, let's have a staycation. Let me take you away on a vacation. Please don't get lost when I send you my location. I got a place for you, baby. Please say yes, and if not, maybe.
Champagne pop, 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 all in my cup. Call my baby day. Lights go down and you turn up. Turn up, pull up and I'll be waiting. Pull up and I'll be waiting for you.
Yo, Steffi, have a couple of things you feel learn as a frequent flyer. You have to buckle up for the ride of your life when you reach the empire. You know how me love how you twerk it, love how you work the gear stick, put it in first and back a reverse. Will make it to the ends of the earth for what it a worth. Make you my heart.
Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. Happy Ash Wednesday. It's your Island Girls. I'm Krystal, Khayne,
Katie Z.
and today, as you know, is the last Wednesday of the month, which means it's time for Guys Perspective. And we have none other than the man on the inside himself, Mr. Overtime TT, Mr. Nigel Telesford.
Greetings, good afternoon.
Cutie confetti.
It's more like good morning to Trinidad and Tobago right now, because I think most people are still waking up.
Still waking up, indeed, for this morning for them. Yeah.
Kinda, sorta.
They might still be sleeping for real. So, guys, Nigel Telesford is a publicist and a media personality who is on the inside with everything that happens in Trinidad and Tobago. A well sought after publicist who works for many an artist, a company, etc. And he's always in and about the scene, and he's here today to give us all the inside happenings over the carnival season that just occurred. Yeah?
Yeah, well,
We're going to be grilling here today, you know.
the road match results just leaked too, so
Right? We go get some
you'll get some of that.
So excited about that.
I was surprised. I was shocked.
I am still
How you
waiting
feel
for
about it?
confirmation. It usually doesn't come until afternoon, more like 3-4, but
Right.
somebody leaked it. I don't know.
So it's not
So is
confirmed.
it
confirmed
confirmed
then.
results?
I mean, until you get from them directly to go.
Because I see a whole Facebook
Really?
post. I see a
Yeah.
whole congratulations post.
Congratulations on going around already.
I mean,
this is
let's
not
face
like
it, there was some other rumors floating around yesterday too, and it
Exactly.
turned out to be untrue. So we should
Exactly.
probably wait.
Oh, right.
let's wait a
Yes.
little bit before we start to celebrate.
We will get to all of that in a timing. But Nigel, how you going, hon?
A little tired.
I can imagine.
A lot of tired, actually.
I don't know how you did it. You know, like
conditioning.
Jesus, son.
20 years of doing it, so you kind of get in the mix. But of course, we had 2 years off, so it's coming back to it now, and you know,
And this carnival.
finding
How
that
is
energy.
coming back to
Finding that
felt?
energy. This carnival was definitely different. That's
How so?
totally like everything feel different, sound different. The crowds were different, the patronage was different, layout, setups.
Good or bad?
Everybody went
Both.
full castle stages, super screens. Like,
Yes.
that was developing before the pandemic, but now it's just everybody's taking it to that level. And then within the industry itself, there's a not so subtle shift because some of the younger generations are coming into their own, coming into their primes, and they're staging their concerts now. That whole last week there's Soca Concert Week.
Yes.
You know, there are fets in between, but it's really like a concert every night, from lyrical to Kes to
Yeah.
Patrice to, so it's a different dynamic from 20 years ago when I first started as a young lad fresh out of school,
With your
writing for the
dreadlocks.
Vox magazine, adoring the swimsuit issue.
Hello. Right.
Yes, we should have that to pull up on screen, don't we?
Oh, you come to
Master
bust
Control.
files today?
But you did say I was on the inside.
Any hot
Yes,
box?
you are on the inside. But he put me on the hot
How's
box
that?
today.
Why not?
Oh my goodness. So this could go either one of two ways today, Nigel, because we were discussing what we were gonna tackle today.
It's his
Now we
chuckle.
have a topic planned for y'all today, right? We have a topic planned for y'all today, and Nigel came up with something else, and we might do both. You know what I'm saying?
I
We
have
don't
a
know
lot
if
of
you're
ideas.
ready for this topic today, right after the carnival season. But I think we could do both. We could talk
We could touch on it. We could sprinkle a little
could
bit to
sprinkle
see.
a little
yeah, we could talk the talks about the season a little
I don't know if we have
later.
enough time to delve into everything.
It's so multifaceted. But guys, we want to hear from y'all today, right? Are you a man who sometimes may feel emasculated in your relationship? We want to discuss some of the signs of a man who feels that way, signs of an emasculated man. And I mean, there is an endless list of ways that someone can feel that way. I mean, if you ask me, it may not just because today is guys' perspective, we're going to focus on the men.
Right.
But that sounds like a people thing just in general, like, because people just don't know how to treat people generally, you know? And instead of using the word emasculated, you could use something else, offended or you know what I mean?
Rejected, yeah.
Rejected and all that
Rejected,
jazz.
insecure.
But for the purposes of today's show, which is guys' perspective, we want to hear from Nigel and of course all you guys in the chat room today. Do you ever or have you ever felt emasculated in a relationship, and what brought it on? You know what I mean? So for those of you who into show what it is, emasculation can occur as a result of many different factors. It could be due to stress, you know, from work, failure in a chosen career path, you know, a broken marriage, a broken relationship, breakdown in communication, your spouse and talking to you right or making certain
Jobs and
making time for you or putting certain contingencies in place for you, that kind of thing. It can take on a number of faces, and we will get into some of them because, as Nigel and I were discussing yesterday, it is so broad that we would be here all day long if we were to really delve into and dissect that
Netflix series.
So exactly, you would have volumes to it, or so
seasons.
Let's hear from you, Nigel.
Yeah.
Right? What does emasculation mean to you, and have you ever felt that way?
Oh yeah, for sure. For me, it's we would say in the parlance, disrespect, right? It's a diss. It's a diss that, depending on how sensitive you are, it could, make you go full tilt, or you could just feel a little bad for a few seconds or a few minutes or a few hours, depending on the sensitivity of the individual. For me, I kind of have a mixture of a soft skin, but yet I have a hard shell at the same time. So I don't really take on most things like that too serious, but at the same time, if it's somebody close to me, if it's somebody I'm in a relationship with, of course I'm gonna be a little extra sensitive. Like, who's that one boy? That's how you go talk to me though? Like, in front of everybody too, like, really? And now you want my help too? So it's like, really? Mash them up? All
Can I
right.
ask a question?
Sure.
So you said in front of people.
That would amplify it.
That would amplify it.
That would amplify whatever
It sounds like
situation
go ahead,
might
Kate.
be. Yeah, go ahead. Dig in. I'm already on the chopping
like,
board here.
No, you're not on the chopping board as well, but the
I
chopping
generally
block.
want to learn about this topic because I think as women we sometimes forget that men come from a different place to us because we come more from an emotional place. Men a little more on the logical side.
Yes.
And I think the two genders forget. And as a woman, I don't want to unknowingly do something thinking that my partner knows where I'm coming from.
Right.
So I generally want to learn, you know, how and why men feel emasculated because I don't want to do it unknowingly.
I was doing some reading as well on the topic, and I realized that it could be easily misconstrued, like being emasculated or emasculation can easily, if you don't watch it can be misconstrued as male fragility, which is different, right? Emasculation comes where certain actions we're talking about it from the perspective of a relationship today, right? It can come from when their partner makes them feel inferior, whether knowingly or unknowingly, and certain things that they might want, how to put this boy delicately, they may want to be checked in with by their partner before certain things are done or said or what have you, and this is neglected by their partner. They would feel useless or unappreciated or unworthy, slighted, all these lovely words. And in a sense, we as women, right, or as a partner in general, may have to watch that and just look to see how the person needs to be treated with. Their love languages, what their triggers are, what ticks them off, etc.
You're hitting it there with the love languages,
right?
It's hard for people to understand how to treat and how to communicate with the other person unless they really get to know them on that level. So a lot of times you dive into a relationship based on physical attraction or just attraction, and you may not take the time to get to know the person to even recognize, well, okay, after this courting phase is over, how do I deal with this person on a regular basis? Because everybody knows we put on our best put our best representation at first because we want to impress the person, we want to establish something, and after that boils down, then you get to see the real side, and you get to see the real pet peeves and all the little trippiness.
That's the real tester. That is the test, boy. You know what I mean? So just clearing it up for people. One time we're talking about signs that a man may feel emasculated. It mightn't be the same for every man, but we're gonna touch on a few general ones Nigel is going to share some of his experiences for us. Guys, we want to hear from you in the chat room as well. Have you ever felt emasculated at all in your relationship, guys in particular? And if so, tell us about it. You can either call us at 4664 O.U.R. That's 466-4687. Or you can send us a WhatsApp if you don't want to talk. Or just if you're brave like Dennis Day and Jamil, feel free to call in as well.
Oh.
You understand? But we definitely want to hear about you all today. And remember that Guys Perspective is an episode that we do every month where we as women can also learn from our men. We may not always agree, but we can definitely learn. Right? And this is the purpose of Guys Perspective, to provide a space for the men to have their own voice, so we as women could, try to find like a little common ground with them.
And it's important for everyone to learn every day.
Life.
Yes.
Male, female, we should all be learning constantly.
Indeed.
Who knows everything?
Indeed.
No one, and you will never know everything.
Exactly.
All right. So I've seen somebody in the chat room already. Stephen Warwick says, there are times I felt rejected or unappreciated in a relationship. How so, Stephen? We'd like to hear more. And then Erin, etc., says, real. Learning and having conversations about our differences and how things make us feel as men, as women, and as human. The talking about it and listening and being respectful is key. Indeed.
Correct.
Well said, Aaron. Well said. Y'all don't be afraid to give all your perspectives today, because this is really what today is about.
So could I ask a question?
Ask your question, man.
As you mentioned, the word I think is very important to this discussion. Respect. What does that mean to women now?
Well,
what makes you all respect a man now, in this time where the dynamics are totally different?
I could speak from my perspective. I mean, we're all women, but we're not, can I say we're not a monolith? I mean, we're all different.
Right.
And for me, respect means I can respect a man who I feel not just safe with, but secure with. Someone who, I'm an equal opportunity kind of person as well, so I don't believe that I necessarily need to be taken care of wholly and solely by a man. I can pitch in as well, but it still is nice to know that a man can take care of his family should he need to. Not just that, it's nice to know that when you're with someone, you could literally look at him and go like, you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about anything because he's got this. A man like that is a man that I can respect. I remember saying in a previous episode, a man that crumbles in the face of any kind of adversity or shows weakness in that regard. I mean, it's okay to be like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Take the moment for that. But after that, let's get solution oriented. And let's get to a plan to fix whatever issue it is we're dealing with. A man that crumbles is not a man that I can respect. And that comes from being raised by a man who has always handled his business from day one. My father had to step up and take care of me from a month old. You know what I mean? On his own. With the help of my grandmother, of course, but he manned up and he did what he had to do. So that kind of an example, my entire life, you really had to come good for me to give you all of my respect. You know what I mean? So that is what it means to me in a nutshell.
I echo everything that Krystal says. I'll also add a man who, I don't want to use the word allow, but understands that I have autonomy over
your own self.
My own self. And that includes my body, my mind, my emotions. And to not try to control it.
Right.
Who will take the time to understand it and not, or you may not understand it all the time, because like I said, we're different people altogether, but understand that I have autonomy over self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that a lot of men would say about their spouse or a girlfriend or women in general that women don't respect men or women don't respect me and and that may very well be because it has some bad women out here. Let's just be real about it.
For sure.
But at the end of the day, what most men need to ask themselves is, am I being the type of man that she can respect? You follow?
Yeah.
Because we like to, as men, they beat to your chests a lot and be like, it's man. But are you doing the things that is indicative of a real man?
Right.
so that this woman would have no choice but to respect you, because even indirectly you command that respect, you know?
You respect yourself.
I think what the point you mentioned earlier about the upbringing also plays a big part.
Huge.
Because different women raised in different circumstances with a father present, a strong father, a weak father, you know, that would kind of change the dynamic of how they see men now.
Yes.
And people tend to not take that time to think about, why do I react this way to these people, to this person or this meal? And it's often stems from those childhood scenarios, issues, traumas, however you want to.
They say your relationships in your life reflect your very first relationship, which is the ones with your
parents.
parents.
Exactly.
So definitely, I mean, not saying that you could go back and change your parents, or the way you grew up, your experience, but understanding it now, knowing and trying to make the difference to move forward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Correct.
Exactly.
I agree.
So we want to get into it, Mr. Nigel.
But we already into
we getting into the meat of it, the signs.
We're not going any deeper.
Yes. How to know, or signs that a man might be feeling emasculated. We don't want to go from the route of the woman. How to know when you emasculated a man. We're not ponging women today. Right. We just want to know how.
Why is that, boy? Why are we not ponging women?
We're not ponging women. We're not ponging men. We just want to know from the guy's perspective how a man would feel if he were to feel emasculated. Certain instances or situations that might arise for him to feel like, this woman don't respect me, or you know what I'm saying? So, and Nigel, feel free, You had plenty to say yesterday.
That was yesterday. It's Carnival Tuesday. I had a lot to sip on, and my brain was in a different place.
Yes, this is true.
But what immediately came to mind, in terms of the reaction, at least for me, see when I go silent, you know something wrong. You know something off.
Same
Not that I'm
here.
a big talkative person either, but when I ain't saying nothing at all, I just observing. Is because, hey, something hit a certain way, I feel in some type of way. So you know what? Before it
escalate
and I have to turn up, let me just keep quiet, observe, take notes.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get to talk about it later. Maybe not, but
I can relate to that, sir, even as a woman, because I am one, like if I'm upset, if I care enough, I will say something about it. I'll talk about it. I'll over and over and over, I'll try to rectify the problem. But then there comes a point when it's like, you just, lock off, quiet, that's it. You do what you have to do and just bounce. You know what I mean?
So is it that you're working it through in your mind, or is it that you just taking notes to see if the person would change?
Well, they mightn't necessarily be able to change any moment, but at least they should have awareness to know that, hey, something went wrong there though. Like, what are you getting on so for? Like,
especially knowing
ask
that you're
the question. You
talk well.
Knowing that I might be a little more outgoing,
right.
And I just was maybe 5 minutes before
that
now all of
comment.
a sudden, as you all might describe it, now all of a sudden I'm sulking in a corner. I think you should know well.
Define
all right,
y'all.
How do we?
Just lumping us in together.
So how would you? So you would prefer that your partner come up to you and be like, "Hey, I find you a little quiet."
Yeah, I mean, at least investigate the situation in some way or form or fashion. Don't just go ahead like nothing happened. And you see me there stewing.
Yeah.
Because sooner or later, they're going to explode.
That's a form of gaslighting too, But he didn't say nothing, so I not go and say anything. You know what I mean?
See, all right.
Yeah,
and then
I'm guilty of that in the past.
Where are we going to end up with that?
I've been guilty of that in the past. Way in the past, I mean... Yeah.
So like, this is not Krystal show today. The topic is not about Krystal.
Because
you see, he triggering some memories now, you know what I'm saying? But one of the... Go ahead, Nigel.
No, I'm just saying I'm usually the one asking the questions, so I will provoke some responses.
So one of the signs I saw that a man may feel or start to feel emasculated is it's represented or indicative by low self-esteem, right? And he might end up feeling like he needs validation and from others. He might take a long time to decide on something and constantly needs reassuring that he's making the right decision. And this usually ends up with men who are with women who totally depend on them financially or emotionally, and it could end up draining a fella, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And sometimes in cases where a guy might be easy to be pushed around, you know?
Bobolating.
Yes, bobolating.
Advantage never done any will, you know.
Yeah, that's us. You know, it might be important to like reflect on his past relationships, of course his childhood and that kind of thing, and see if you could differentiate like a power dynamic or pattern in his relationships where power dynamics may come into play. If he's usually the one who is more not placid, but you know, laid back and allows people to walk all over him, that kind of thing, and causes him to have low self-esteem. I was with someone who was just like that. That's one of the reasons I chose this. Just like that. A people pleaser, if you will. And he never said no. Ever.
Really?
At all. He could be in South. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was me long time.
And not even for me. No, I wouldn't even say for me. He would do it for me, but he could be in South. And an acquaintance who is kind of his friend, but kind of not. I need you. Such and such and such. I come in. You know what I'm saying? No boundaries. Not many boundaries. And I realized that really, I didn't know at the time because I myself was pretty young and just was like, why are you like this? And you don't stand up for yourself, blah, 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 blah. And if I knew then what I knew now, I would realize what the issues were. You know, he extremely low self-esteem, always beating up on himself. What do you call people who always believe that they're sick or something is wrong with them? Hypochondriac. Yeah, one of those, always something wrong with him. And it was an attention seeking thing as well, because I realized he didn't get that much attention. Just a whole plethora. I wouldn't. His parents are very loving. I just couldn't figure it out, and it used to frustrate the crap out of me. And I would say I was a little bit emotionally abusive because I didn't understand it. Oh my God!
You took advantage of the man.
I didn't take advantage. I was just.
You just admitted it live on our radio.
I can't take you know, but I was insensitive to it because remember I was raised with a strong man. I just gave that reason earlier. Correct. So for me having to deal with someone who I deemed weak, it was just like I can't. You should be stronger than me emotionally. You know what I mean? Not the other way around. So
it was hard to respect him.
It was hard to respect him, boy. Real hard. Real hard. But knowing what I know now, I realize that he has a lot of trauma and baggage and this and that. And
so what would you have done differently if you
I would have walked. I would have let him down easy and be his friend.
Right.
For sure, because I would have already realized that a relationship like that I would never be able to sustain
and be in.
Yeah.
And being such a goal-oriented, driven woman, I don't think you would have been able to handle that.
Nah, even now I would not have been. I wouldn't be able to handle that. Yeah.
See, that's the next component of relationships. Maybe that's a topic for another show. But
yeah, boy.
Yeah, when you figure out what's wrong, you know, is it really the best thing to bounce? Can you help that person or not?
I would like I said, I would stay to help, but as a friend, I definitely, because I already know what I want from a person in a relationship setting, and so I would have already known that this is not it, and you're not the one, but I'm your friend.
I think for me, I would bring it to the person's attention, and if they are not trying to help themselves, then
kid, see,
yes, that's what I'm saying. You see,
that is an important element too, because there were times when I would try to come up with suggestions to help certain things, and the person, when a person they want to help themselves,
there's nothing really you could do.
For example,
as friend or girlfriend.
Yeah. For example, you're getting big and overweight, but it making you hate yourself even more. You're getting depressed, but you're eating more, and then getting more depressed. But the depression making you comfort, eat more. I say, let's go exercise. Let's go. I'm gonna go with you. Let's go to the gym. Let's do this. Let's do that. And they have no interest at all. I will bounce.
They might be scared that you will make them look even worse.
No.
I'm not gonna allow you to drag me down with your demons. That's
right.
Like I fought my demons to be where I'm at. If you can't, I will help you if you want to help yourself. Of course. But if your demons pulling you down, sure as hell it's not gonna pull me down.
Yeah.
So this
It's not a heartless thing, you know, Nigel. But
I
if
understand.
you want to help, but you realize that your help being rejected, and let me say you're helping for the better part of 5 years, it's
boy.
time to go.
Yeah, no, that's
yeah,
that's a
it's time to go.
Half a
big
century.
portion there.
Half a decade. Half a century. Half a decade.
For real.
Well, in these times, yeah, it could feel like half a century. But I was going to say that sways into a somewhat bigger issue of individual assessment. Like, people need to, I mean, I guess long time, you know, in the olden days, there were rites of passage, there were rituals that we went through to become adults. And we would learn ways and means of coping and recognizing different aspects of ourselves along the way. Now, not so much, right? You go to school, you go to work. And we learn stuff that helps us work, and we learn stuff that helps us do good in school. But do we learn how to live, how to assess ourselves, how to check ourselves and say, hey, what's going on with me here, boy? How come I getting on so, like, or why I drinking so, or why I eating so much, or why, you know, do we question ourselves enough?
Hey, that's a real hard thing to do,
That's
you
a
know.
hard thing to put a mirror up to your face.
Yes,
Hard,
boy.
and
But
it's
it's
very
easy
exhausting.
to point fingers at everybody else.
So
Come
you
on,
will
that's
point and
back
be
to
like,
front.
oh, you making me this, or you're making me drink, or you're making me da. You know, but how
Your
is
choices.
it that you're asking yourself how it is so easy for another person to control your actions? What about what you're doing? Take accountability for you.
Correct.
You know? Bro.
Well, people are self-absorbed. I mean, twisted turn, and they're self-absorbed. Even people pleasers, they're doing it for a self-fulfillment.
Right.
If I do this, I will feel validated.
Yes.
If I do this.
So then they're self-absorbed in a shallow way then. Because they're not digging deep enough to actually check on self.
In most
Exactly.
cases, self-absorbed is shallow.
Yes.
You know?
On the surface.
Kate, you have one?
My point would be they run from problems.
Oh, yeah.
As
We-
let me explain a little bit. Let me get my words here. I think masculinity. There's different ways to describe masculinity and different characteristics, right? And I do think masculinity, one of the things is being secure, be able to make decisions, right? And I think as a man, now I'm not going to say that you have to be able to figure it out right away. I think you will end up in situations where you're like, well, I really can't figure this out and I need assistance. But if you're continuously running from the issue and running from the problem,
Running from the decision.
running from the decision, finding excuses as to why you can't do this, finding excuses as to why it's a problem for everything else, but look within yourself to be able to find solutions. As you said, the person just not finding solutions or solution oriented. Then that's, I think, definitely is a form of feeling emasculated. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, correct.
Because you're indirectly telling the person that they're not good enough, or they're not, they don't have the presence of mind to want more.
Yeah.
I see. Nigel?
So yeah, this makes me feel like the other aspect is balance, because for men now, you don't want them to be too controlling, right? You don't want them to make all the decisions. So they have to be able to find the balance between being that decisive and allowing a little bit of democracy sometimes.
Yeah. Autonomy.
You know, let's collaborate and see how we can do this together, rather than I just
Don't
say,
run
okay,
from
we're
the
doing this.
problem.
Yeah.
But the running is definitely a sign, well, they're not really trying to
Yeah.
fix that right now.
say this.
Probably won't feel they can.
I will say this, and I hope you all don't find it too complicated, but you know what you just said about a woman
Balance.
wouldn't want a man to just take control and do all of that. Yes, they would want to be consulted, of course, with the decision-making process and stuff. But that aside, because always, in a marriage, you must consult with your spouse before any decision is made.
You should.
But what I would say is that I would like to, it is nice to have a guy who would be like, in certain instances, especially in instances where he may have to make a snap decision, just take control and do what he has to do, and it's automatically for the betterment of the family. You know, that is also nice as well.
Right,
You
so
know?
it's a tough thing to balance.
Yeah, you think
for
so?
us, for men, yes. Because remember, you all are emotional, so we don't know how you're going to react. if we do either one. If we don't, and we lay back and we say, all right, let me consult her first and make sure everything okay. And you ain't really trying to hear that at the time. You wanted a decision made, and then you might react in a certain way. But then if we make the decision and you're not consulted, you might react in a certain way. So we would tend to be a little tiptoeing there in that zone, like, all right, so should I just press the button here or should I make the call?
Right.
I guess it boils down to the type of person that you're with too. Because like I said earlier, if you're with a man, like you could just go like, you know, he's got it. He knows what to do. He has presence of mind. He has, you know, what it takes to make informed decisions. Yeah. It comes down
responsible decisions.
Informed, responsible decisions, of course. Yeah, but it might boil down to exactly the type of man you're with and how comfortable you are with him taking control in certain areas. Yeah, I will say that if I'm with the type of man that I see believe I should be with, then by all means you do your thing. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Do your thing. We would talk after about it, you know. But like you said, if it's the kind of man that I think I should be with, he would know how to
solve the problem.
Balance.
Keep the balance.
Keep the balance. He will know how to, So
like this
Boy, poor man.
Poor man.
We have it, fellas.
Was that it?
No, I was just gonna go off of what you said, as in this problem, maybe I should consult her. This problem, let me take the rein and make the decision.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that might change on any given day, depending on the weather.
Yeah, and that's why I had communication and talk. Well, babe, I had to make the decision now because time was of the essence, or blah, blah, blah. Or I figured it would have been. Yeah.
That works.
You know?
Both
you all
ways.
want to hear what the chat room saying?
Please.
Stephen Warwick says there are some women who wants to help in a relationship, or who wants help in a relationship, and some men will put themselves out to help and understand and even try to make her life easier, and she will rather be a problem or be stressful.
She rather the problem.
How so, Steven, you're throwing out things but you're not giving us the how, you know what I mean, or the why that you're saying it. I mean, we know such people exist, but
definitely.
you had to give us more, you know what I'm saying? She says, hi everyone, good afternoon ladies. Hey, look, Be Dangerous. Who's Be Dangerous? What is that name? Who's Be Dangerous? She leaves. Give us the tea.
That was my rap name. That was my rap name.
Oh, from Spot Rushes?
Spot Rushes, yeah.
Oh, Be Dangerous.
Oh, yeah, our boy used to be an artist, you know, but we go coming up in the spotlight segment.
All right.
We can't give away too much. We have Erin, etc., saying, I'm guilty of that. I have made men feel disrespected since boys. But it came from a place of I can do it too. I'm equal. I'm not disrespectful for what they... What? Wait, I can do it too, or I'm equal, and not disrespect for what they had to offer. So she's saying that she would have done it, but it didn't necessarily come out of disrespect for them, just as she's an equal too.
Well, she asserted herself and her abilities, but she may not have been trying to diminish any particular boy. But if she says she's doing it from boys, that's a lot.
I do believe that men and women are equal. Just for the record, I think we are different, and we both offer different things that are meant to complement each other. I, for one, don't believe that men and women are equal at all, and they shouldn't be equal. They are different.
Well, hey, we need to get you on a billboard saying this, you know. You need to do a masterclass on that alone, cause
what confirm Ananias?
Oh, it's confirmed now.
So
Okay.
I'm coming up later on in trends. Tell them.
Road March 2023 winner, none other than the Black Spaniard, Mr. Ian Alvarez, aka Bungie Garland, coming in with hard fet 135 plays. And unfortunately, Nyla and Skinny are second with 106 plays. And Marsha Montano and Patrice with Like Yourself at 50.
The numbers change.
Gosh,
that's not the numbers that were on the rumor. This is the numbers on the semi-official looking document.
Semi-official.
Yeah, because people can making memes out of government stationery and thing now, like.
That is so true.
Well, congrats to Bungie.
Right,
well deserved. Although my heart was with Nyla.
I think all our hearts are still with Nyla.
Yeah. My heart was split.
Think,
I was gonna be happy either or, but I'm really happy Bungie won.
I think
I
Come Home
wanted Nyla to win.
Is definitely a better song, like a road march song. Mm-hmm. But the phenomenon of Heartfelt, as I was telling some other people in a group, is the phenomenon of this season coming back after COVID, and the alpha male presence was necessary, and Bungie stepped in and he gave the commands. He not coming out here for no small fete, no small flag. Well, don't waste time. We just had 2 years minus this. Do it.
It was organic to her, and it was reminiscent of old school Bungie in a way, you know, like
Soca is back.
Snake Oil,
Yes.
the days, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my God, have you seen him perform it? It is out of this world.
Yeah, it's
the
a real
energy
phenomenon.
was just.
And of course, for me, a hip hop lover, that's hip hop. Come back around there into the carnival.
I hear that. So let me continue quick with these comments. Steven says, wait, Krystal does break hearts? Steven, don't start. Then he says, one hand, don't clap. Indeed. J Revolution is in the house under his full-time name here. He says, this topic is mad. You know, Jay, as always, we welcome your call. Feel free to call in. We have Nigel here to talk to you. You all could have a little discussion, a little powwow. That's what today is about. So call. The number is 466-4-O-U-R. That's 466-4687. We have Fazia Mohammed in the house. Hi, Faz.
Hi.
That's a friend of mine. She says, hi, Krystal. What are we talking about today? I just joined. Fazia, we're talking about men and whether or not they have felt emasculated in their relationships at any given time. Right? So that's what we're here talking about with Nigel. Erin just a couple more. Erin goes on to say, I think for me, because I was raised that in a way that feminism is okay, and I forgot respect, and I forgot to respect and push away their respect because I relate to it the old school patriarchy trying to control me. Right. So I see. Full time says, or Jay says, men and women are equal, not identical. That's a perspective that Jay, call in and give us your perspective.
Sit and sip on that one.
Yeah, Jay always has these introspective and really insightful points that will really make you think. So Jay, if you have the time, feel free to buzz us. Right, 2 more. Lendell says, hi ladies, nice to see you all. Hi. And afternoon to the guest, Nigel Telesford. Boom. Hi, Landell. He also says, and love your new hangout spot, Krystal. Yes, Landell. I love it too. It's a new spot up on the Lady Young Road. Let me take the opportunity to pitch it now because the people are nice.
Everybody there.
Oh, God, it's true.
Experience it. A little calm first. We said it's Ash Wednesday. They're looking for a place to go.
But they need the business. It's a place called Tasty Tobago up on the Lady Young Lookout. It's brand new. You would have passed the shack when you're driving by, but they just opened a new deck in the back where you can go sit and dine. Nice breeze, a lovely view. Location. We are getting a call at the end.
Are we dancing?
Oh gosh, let me see. I feel it's Jay, you know. we dancing. Okay, so let me put on the roadcaster. All right. Hello, caller.
Hi. Is this Highway Roti?
Highway Roti.
Hi, Jay.
No
J Revolution in the house. You know J, right? Jimmy Baron. Indeed.
And I knew that my brother Nigel over there was the dangerous of spot rushers, and I'm ashamed of you, Krystal. That's all.
You know what? You have a right to pong me because it's long time I know these guys. I wouldn't say how much years there, but it's plenty.
We see she on songs too, you know.
Oh gosh,
you on songs and don't know be dangerous.
I do. Here now, he had to remind me that I did background vocals for spot rushers. Clean forget.
That's when you're booked.
Clean forget.
That's when you're working.
Those days I now met Chromatics and the crew and all of them, and we just
Just
good times. Good times.
Cut on them for the royalties, you know what I mean?
So Jay, we here today, of course, as mentioned, that we're here to learn on guys' perspective. We may have our own ideas and ideals about certain things until we hear the men speak, and then we go like, oh, okay, didn't know about that. So talk to us, Jay. It's kind of mad for real, yes.
No, the reason why I say it's mad, right, is because so over the last couple of years, I personally have been trying to confront myself, and of course, in confronting myself, I'll confront my masculinity. And one thing I've realized is that masculinity has always been, and I'm talking about since the 1800s, has always been under scrutiny. And the reason for that is that masculinity at any point in time in history has to serve a function. So there would be a time when masculinity would be necessary for war. There would be a time when masculinity would be necessary for construction and building. There would be a time when masculinity is necessary for art. So masculinity has always been under scrutiny because men have always been understood to do the labor or put out the functions out of society. So in today's age, where we are in one of the safest time periods ever, we are still trying as a society for masculinity to have one particular function. And that has been very difficult. The most common definition we have of masculinity is one that is performed in a capitalist way, i.e. the ability to provide specifically financially. And for the most part, most men I would have spoken to would feel emasculated, as you all said, when they are unable to make decisions. But the most decision-making power in our society comes with the financial backing to do so. For example, if I say I want to do something on the house, that's going to fall to the breadwinner, obviously, because they would have the most money. And in most cases, that would obviously come as the person who's the breadwinner, which is usually the man. But a lot of times when you have a situation where a woman could, quote-unquote, disrespect themselves, it's quite often in situations where either A, the man has low self-esteem, or B, doesn't have the capacity or facility to execute a particular task. So that's just from my understanding of things, right? Because if it is, we were truly a quote-unquote equal society, then there would be no reason ever for a man to ever feel emasculated because both of us are making decisions at the same time, both of us are serving the same functions, etc., etc. And that kind of dynamic may just be two humans. You understand what I'm saying? So with this whole emasculation topic, for me, it's just that, like, all right, what are we defining masculinity as for somebody to feel the opposite of that? That's one. And two, if emasculating does exist, then does that mean there's an opposite where we make women feel less than women? Like, as in not serving a function? Do you understand what I'm saying? I do ever hear women talking about, oh, this is a situation where a man makes me felt effeminated. You know what I mean?
Is there even a word for it?
You understand what I'm saying? That is also not a topic. And, right. No, well, emasculate and effeminate, it is a word. It is a word. But what I'm saying is that is not a topic ever. Because femininity is not under that kind of scrutiny now. And that's where the difficulty comes in for men. Because the masculine identity is always under scrutiny, I have to ask my question, well, how do I perform in this particular context? So if I'm saying I'm going to be the male and dominate and make all the decisions, as Nigel was saying, that's today. But tomorrow, that might be too controlling. You understand what I'm saying? So I think the larger topic for me is not necessarily if a woman makes me feel emasculated, but is this woman truly valuing what I contribute to the relationship? And that is a bad feeling, period. You know what I mean? That you don't necessarily have to attribute the word emasculate, because in my experience, for example, with my worst experience ever, this woman literally just wanted to horn. And that was it now. And her technique was to use the fact that I performed my masculine function so well that anything I do that deviated it, she would use that as an opportunity to make me feel like I fail in the relationship to cover the fact that she wanted.
Wow. But Jamil, you're just dealing with somebody with issues then.
She's a sociopath, period. But what I'm saying is the root of it is the same.
Yeah.
So in order for a man to feel emasculated, it means that he's not performing a particular function. You understand what I'm saying? That's to me where the root comes from. So even people who would say things like, I would push back against a man because of patriarchy and blah, blah, blah. In that one instance, how is it I as an individual male responsible for the patriarchy?
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You are now putting my masculinity under the function of, okay, you need to be a modern man and not patriarchal. But what does that mean for me as an individual? If I'm telling you I want to do somebody's house, where patriarchy come from? You understand what I'm saying? So it's that what makes me feel particularly horrible in this society is that my function as a man needs to be so fluid and so dynamic that many times I just choose to be ignorant. I'm going to be real.
Yeah.
Many times I just choose to be ignorant.
That's why we
and just like, what? Forget our dread. I just want to do whatever I want to do. The consequences will come after, because with somebody I'm going to be wrong.
I will say, Jamil, that I totally connect with what you're saying. I will add that being a man and everything that comes with masculinity, the patriarchy, everything has been so loud from time immemorial that the world is literally a man's world. So it would be noticeable. No, it still is. But it would be noticeable to a man now when he feels emasculated, because even though you may not identify with the word, many men out there, if not the majority, has felt emasculated at some point in their life, most times in a relationship. So I would say that because the role of a man is so loud in society, that it would be easy to identify instances when or if he feels like less than, or if someone makes him feel less than. You know what I mean? It's just a bona fide fact.
Agree.
So
I agree. I agree with what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with what you're saying. However, we are not speaking about the patriarchy today. We're speaking about as an individual feel emasculated. And I'm saying that because the roles of men have been completely dominated, mostly by capitalism, because it is mostly by capitalism.
It is.
Because, that's what I'm saying. Men who are not able to function, who are not able to display that particular sort of masculinity, would usually feel emasculated quicker than others. Like if it is as a man who has no money and I live with a woman, immediately in that situation, everything will probably trigger that man. Right?
Yeah.
Right? That's true. But you have to also understand, Krystal, that women contribute to patriarchy equally, even though they don't benefit from it as much as men. And that might sound like a controversial statement, but the first time I came across that statement was by a female black sociology scientist who made that statement, and it's only when I read that. Give me an
example of that, Jamil. Give me an example of what that looks like.
Okay. Krystal, would you like to be wine and dine?
It's
right,
that is a broad question.
I keep forgetting Krystal is a mutant and she different.
That's a broad
Kate,
question.
Would you like to be white?
Kate is also a mutant.
A mutant.
What I'm saying is, Krystal, is that if it is women push the ideologies, and they do. Let's not be. And I'm not saying they are wrong for it.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is, if women push the ideologies, are men supposed to do certain things?
Mm-hmm.
That is a contribution to the patriarchy. It is. If it is, you're telling me that as a man, first from the time you start the statement as a man, from the time you start with that statement, it is indirectly, it is directly contributing to the patriarchy. Women do things, and I don't want to go too broad with the topic and talk about the amount of things women get a pass on that are problematic.
I will just interject just briefly, sorry to cut you, but just letting you know that this can go both ways because women have a ton of things that they believe that men should or supposed to do, but then men as well have a ton of things that women should do. So I just want you to know it goes both ways.
No, Krystal, you're not listening to man. This is no disrespect. Something women do. I said women contribute equally, not only.
I like this fella, right?
Women contribute equally, Krystal, not only. You hear what I'm saying? Equally, not only.
Mm-hmm.
So my point is, there are a lot of women who still push traditional roles on men. That is a reality. Men who have less financial capabilities are respected less. There are many men who walk around here basically feeling invisible. You wouldn't understand that as you're not a man. And what I'm trying to say is, the emotional capacity of men, the functional capacity of men is always defined within some kind of function or some kind of parameter and never able to be free as a human being. And what I mean by that is, even the emotional capacity of men, most women expect men to be emotional, but in a specific way. Like for men, it's all about performing masculinity and not necessarily giving the opportunity to be a human being. That's why I don't want to take the topic too far. But what I'm saying is, if it is I as a man expressing my feelings in a relationship, a lot of women might not say the word be a man, but the word figure it out or get over it is the same thing. You understand what I'm saying? Yep. So I'm not saying, and that is a contribution to the patriarchy. You might want to accept it as that, but it is.
Did you hear my point earlier when we just started the conversation?
And, Krystal, oh my God, I'm not talking about you, Krystal. I'm talking about in general.
I know.
Don't take it personal, Krystal.
But,
feathers
Krystal, you can't take it personal.
Statement to make, Jamil.
Krystal, You telling me as a man all the times I put in my life, figure it out, and you go make it happen. Don't worry, is invalid.
Not necessarily figure it out. Not like as though you make it sound as though the figure it out is a dismissal of how the man feels in the moment,
Krystal,
or how he treats with
because
that issue.
Krystal, I would never tell any of my female friends, don't worry, you go figure it out. I will look to find a solution.
Let me repeat what I just said. The way that you're making it sound is that the figure it out part is a dismissal of the gravity of whatever the situation is that the man is going through, and that may not always be the case. You know what I'm saying?
All right, I'm sorry for expressing my feelings. I'm sorry for expressing my feelings.
What I'm saying is, I think a woman that tells a man just figure it out or he'll figure it out is a bit insensitive. What I will say is that man may need some time to deal with whatever emotional disruption that the problem that he's facing. Give it some time for him to deal with that emotionally, but eventually you're going to have to come up with something, a solution, and that's just not men, that's everybody, a solution to fix that issue. You have to, because life gonna go on whether or not you fix it. Wouldn't you rather fix it?
I understand.
You know, all right.
You're 100% right on my experience as a male.
So you're not talking from a general perspective, then you're just talking objectively.
But it is the male. I am talking about the male experience that, I would have a touch bit more to contribute.
Well, then you're
what I'm saying is, we are generalizing right now.
All right.
We are generalizing.
Well, then in that case, it's not the same. It's in what you just, the example you just gave is not exactly how it is in every instance.
What I'm saying is, what I'm saying, Krystal, it's the rule more than the exception, and we can't be, we don't need to be ignorant to that and pretend like it. Krystal, you can't paste your personality on everybody. Okay?
No, it's not that. I'm not saying that at all. This has nothing to do with my personality. Kate,
yes, there will always be.
No.
Hold on. I don't want to take all too much time. All I want to say is, yes, there would be exceptions to everything, Krystal. That's how life works.
This is true.
But generally, men are expected to perform emotions in a specific way and mostly be functional. And every man experiences this one part of life. I'm telling you, even in general conversations, when men say generic things like, boy, you can't care about these girls, just get money. What they are truly saying is, I cannot see my worth outside of my ability to provide. That's what men really saying. You understand what I'm saying? Of course, it's machoism, and
that's
listen, I'm not saying that this is, and I'm not okay. Well, again, men are talking about men's issues here, so let me keep on track. I'm saying that this is not right, nor this is good. What I'm saying is this is what's happening, and why men these days are kind of crumbling is because we don't really have a lock on identity. And I understand that what the patriarchy has caused, but let's not forget that as much as it's a man's world, it's still a rich white man's world. And that's a big difference when it comes to the individual lives of people. That's a big difference. I don't wake up every day and think to myself, oh, great, I could run at night without getting assaulted and feel powerful. It's something that I as a man have to address, because I definitely don't want any woman that I care about to not feel safe to walk out at night in whatever they want. But that does not make me feel powerful. And on the other side of that, when I have the same women who are telling me to listen, you need to confront your masculinity, and then I try to perform it in a specific way that doesn't serve a function, and then get critique for it, what am I left with? And that critique or that expectation for a man to function in a specific way, even if you all do recognize it, is a contribution to the patriarchy. It is.
Revolution, everyone. Revolution, everyone. As always.
But all right, but let me go because you know what?
Have him on as a guest yet?
Yes, of course.
Be dangerous. My feelings have been trivialized.
And
I do not think that this platform,
customary.
So as I was going to say,
I do not think that this platform is inclusive.
Oh boy.
To brethren from the hood who pronounce their THs. I am going to report this platform.
have a call coming in.
This is why Island Girl Talk loves J Revolution. Now, you ain't going yet. This is why we love J Revolution, because you can always count on him to bring something different to the table. We will talk about something ad nauseum, and then Jay will come in with something. But what about this? So what about that? And it literally makes you, So
for sure.
Even if we don't agree on certain things, it's always a pleasure to have Jay on this show, because he really brings that dynamic to it. Go ahead, Jay.
As let's say 8 billion people in the world. Somebody must agree with me.
Oh gosh! All right, sir. You see,
I agree with you.
Hey, and I'm gonna tell you something. One more thing,
That's okay.
One more thing, Krystal.
Yes,
one more thing. I'm gonna show you something. Stop asking people if the world flat, please. Because
oh boy,
you be watching my TikToks.
Because how we reached there?
And I'm done. And I will end with that.
Good.
You just leave my TikTok salon, huh? Right.
I will end with that.
All right, honey.
You see that thing? Okay.
I'll talk to you soon. J Revolution, everyone.
Good vibes.
Lot of mercy.
That's what you're talking about.
Let me see what the chat room is saying.
I didn't have to say a thing. You said it all for me. Boom.
You just glad to have a mouthpiece,
I'm glad to have brothers who understand the situation and can articulate
Look, Katie face. We have Dennis Allen saying Uncle Woo on the show before me. Yes, way boy. Look where my life reached now. But oh gosh, Dennis, your time is gonna come soon. Don't study it. We have Aaron, etc. again saying full time. I agree. Humans should be equal, but men and women have differences. This show is so real, indeed. We glad you like it, Aaron. We try to be as real as we can be. Stefan Warwick says, what I'm saying is they're girls. Oh, this is what he's saying. What I'm saying they're girls is I see while in a relationship, went through hell in life. I tried to make things easier for her, and she rather lived with me with the problems. So what you're saying is that she had issues and didn't try to work on them while with you. He continues saying, I tried to find out what's bothering her and she just pushes me off. So, and I don't know why. So, Stephen, I guess she was dealing with some. I think
he's trying to say that she rather have the problem than the solution.
Right, because he was asking her what was, trying to get to the bottom of it, and he was just
pushed away with the problem and stress.
I hope he left for his sake.
Stephen, did you leave this relationship or is it ongoing?
Well he's talking in past tense.
Yeah, past tense. Erin continues, I really respect this man's view. Yes, I'm sure he would appreciate that. Stephen Warwick says, Krystal look more Spanish than Trinidad. What? Krystal look... I have to start proofreading these comments before... Let me continue.
Spanish just not gonna look like Trini.
Krystal looks more Spanish than Trini. Not sure if I did see her in Grand Bazaar stand. Grand Bazaar stand? What's that?
The taxi stand.
Krystal does not travel, brother. Sorry. It was not me.
Just saying he sees your type flavor on the stand a lot.
The Spanish.
Giving you a little Spanish.
I don't understand
this
Spanish stand.
Heritage. You don't have Spanish in your family?
What that had to do with Grand Bazaar stand though?
That's where you see a lot of them. You're not understanding the dynamics here.
I didn't know that.
This is
okay.
2023. Central and South is populated with a new dispensation of women that look kind of like you.
Okay, moving on to this unrelated point. Dion's thoughts and feelings says agreed for the most part with Jay's offering. She goes on to say anyone who wants to embark on this discussion needs to have read the bell hooks, The Will to Change, Men, Masculinity and Love. Right? I'm getting it's a book.
Check that out.
The Will to Change, Men, Masculinity and Love. Very okay. I'm gonna make a note of that. Jay goes on to say bell hook is the exact author I was referencing. Boom. Thanks for the citation. Indeed. You see earlier.
And to Dennis T, just remember I was not included on the swimsuit photo shoot. So
you just want to get this story out?
No, I'm just saying.
To hear the story.
I'm just saying. He's
Nigel,
complaining that I reached here before him, but he was in his swimsuit.
You really trying to bust my files today?
We should have a digital version to just pop up on the screen.
I feel it should just
And
get
let
out
people know. We're
to
gonna find it.
You will never find that on online. Ever.
What?
You will not find that photo online.
Well, use YouTube.
You know what? Let me just bust my
Google.
own files, right? Because all you
Now
want
you're
to bust my
busting it.
files.
No, we're not busting. We're just saying. There was a time.
Ladies and gentlemen, be dangerous.
Was a
My
model.
goodness. Be dangerous. Nigel.
Hence the name.
Our spot rushers.
And you see, he come with Uncle Woo too. So
Uncle Woo.
that's
Oh
something I
my.
realized. Throughout my whole life, I just always have a name, a nickname, a nickname. You know how many nicknames I have? Telly, this, Beppy, all kind of thing. Like,
I see it
so
more.
many people know me by different names.
Uh-huh.
It's uncanny.
Where you get all them names from? Yeah,
By
different
multiple selves. I guess.
personalities,
Yeah,
different
probably.
lives.
Probably.
We're seeing people popping up in the chat room once more. We have Fazia Muhammad saying, I'd have to say men definitely have a challenge. In today's world, women are a lot more assertive and men can sometimes feel emasculated.
Correct.
Yes, Fazi, true, but Ole doing it to me with this one, you know.
Yeah, you
Jay
asked for
goes
it.
on to say Dion is male. Okay. I'm obviously confusing Dion with someone else. Dennis says, what? Oh, good boy, but whatever he's saying. What you saying? Dennis, you're gonna have to call, you know, you're gonna have to call because this spelling you're giving my hair. Stephen Warwick goes on to say, is a man who have very little means and money, etc., and will still try to make ends meet. Not every girl appreciates this. Okay. Jay goes on to say, why thoughts and feelings associated with female? Because there's someone with a similar name who was a girl. I think her name was Dion also. Stephen Warwick goes on to say, nah, she left me. That's the one who had the girl with the problems or blah, blah, blah.
So he didn't even leave.
Yes. He didn't even leave. She left him.
Leaving.
Yes.
Interesting.
And Dennis says, I'll go in and post
Boom.
that on my
That's
Facebook
it there.
next week.
Oh, we're not going to find it online, right?
Thanks, Dennis. If you post that picture, right.
I mean, it's already out there. Pictures.
There was a whole center
Let
spread.
me just tell the people what Nigel is just
referencing.
gearing up and ready to drop my files on my. I did a swimsuit issue on Vox magazine years ago
Cover
when I
and
was
center
like
spread.
18 or something.
Yes,
Cover and it was a center spread too.
Yep.
Cover and center spread.
Yep.
I was
That's
bringing
a
the dance boy.
Exactly. That might have been the first issue too. I don't know.
And of course, Tay wasn't the first issue. Tay was he the editor?
of the
He
Vox
was the
magazine
editor
at the
of
time.
Vox magazine at the time, and he did the photo shoot.
And I was not invited, and I cried for many nights when I saw how it came out.
And it wasn't even that sexy a picture anyway, but
Not
apparently
for now, but for then it was like, wow.
men everywhere
Who
went
is this?
cray with that. I can't take y'all.
Do you still have the issue?
Tay has it. He said he's going to post it next
I
week.
think I have the paper clipping somewhere in a trunk somewhere.
She'll scan it.
Right? Akil Ishak says Uncle Woo is the original. It would be nice if that picture didn't see the light of day. Okay? Again. Ole Isma, please.
No, you have to.
The girls go to
just
church
talk
and
about
say,
men who be running away from the past. You have to face it. Embrace
Isma,
it.
Dennis, stay. Please do not post that.
Do not run away from problems.
All right, Tay, just send it to me.
He says it was Vox Swimsuit Issue Edition 1. I
There
think.
you go, you see?
First edition, boy.
First edition.
Big in the
Bang.
dance.
Hey, Krystal.
Pioneer.
Moving on. Can we please? You know what? I think it's as good a time as any to go to commercial. We've been so deep in conversation
boy, watching these
that we
biscuits
forgot
here.
to go
Just
to
waiting.
commercial. This always happens. So, guys, let me get my tech guys together because I just kind of springing it on them right about now. But we'll take a very quick break and we'll come back with, are you a man who has ever felt emasculated in your relationship?
No, them girl and them always try to lie to us.
Caribe Hard Cider. Moments made extraordinary.
Then she realize, looking at me eyes, put a kiss upon her thighs. Then she realize, the man a fish in the skies. Looking at the skies, man a star. She realize, yeah. Then she realize, she wanna be up in my ride. Then she realize, yeah. Then she realize, ah yeah. LJ she step for me, beat her crep for me. Realize she slept on me. No, she have to check for me. Yeah, man, them know say them can't cross me. Them get wet up like a pool party. Yeah. Only pa girl want me. To me flyer than a Air Force 3. Then she realize, yeah, looking at me eyes. I put a kiss upon her thighs. Then she realize, the man a fishing at the skies. Looking at the skies, man a star. She realize, yeah. Then she realize, she wanna be up in my ride. Then she realize, yeah. Then she realize, ah yeah. Link me bout ya for 3:30. Now she have to know about me. Silence in a quarantine. Now she have to come choose me. Every day she want see me, want to climb up on the mango tree. Yeah. Little girl, you know, say everywhere me go, we make a movie like Tarantino. 6:30, she a night nurse me. And baby, I don't see no lies. When I'm thirsty, she's sweeter than Hershey. Don't you worry about no compromise. I'm in her head more than a hairdresser. Gangsta me a undresser. She was someone in some big one bless her. No other man can get her. Then she realize, looking at me eyes, put a kiss upon her thighs. Then she realize, the man a fishing at the skies. Looking at the skies, man a star. She realize, yeah. Then she realize, she wanna be up in my ride. Then she realize, yeah. Then she realize, ah yeah.
And we are back once more.
Like we never left.
Welcome, like we never left. Welcome to Island Girl Talk. We're your co-host. I'm Krystal Khayne.
Katie C.
And today is Guys Perspective, the last Wednesday of the month. So, of course, we have the very handsome and dapper, but very, the man around the way. Nigel Telesford in the house.
Be dangerous,
right?
aka Uncle Woo, aka Telly.
Publicist and media specialist. He has been the guy in and around all the events happening around Carnival time. He has tons and tons of clients. Only look at his band. Put it on camera. Put it more on the camera, you see?
Yeah, I was looking at it. I was like, whoa.
And I'm going to do a video where I cut them off one by one and talk about each experience. But this was just from the last 3 days, though.
I know that.
This wasn't like
I was now about to say I feel it's more.
Yeah,
I feel it's
and
more.
then he has the chains as well.
Yes, I want to put these on to remind myself about this wonderful voice concert, Vibes with Voicey.
Vibes with Voicey was a band.
I think that was the best of the
concert week.
Yeah, the Soca concert week.
Very nice. Big up Voicey. So yes, guys, if you're just joining us, once more we're talking about, today is about men, guys' perspective. And we want to know, we pose the question, are you a man that has ever felt emasculated in your relationship? We want to hear from you guys. Feel free to share in the chat room, or you can call us at 466-4-O-U-R. That's 466-4687. Or send a WhatsApp to the same number, right? And we'll share your experience and all that jazz. Right? We just heard from the amazing J Revolution, of course, who always has some insight and pertinent information to share with us, and always something to make you go, you know what I'm saying? So, Jay, big up you as well. Should I finish up with these chat? We had some more comments before
Sorry,
in the break.
Crunch. I need to eat this apple.
Now, eat your apple. Do your thing. Dion's thoughts and feelings says, good catch, G. I left it alone because it's not important. Oh, Dion, it is important. Of course, we want to know if you're male or female. But I know it's confusing him with someone else. Mm-hmm. Dennis says it was Vox Swimsuit Edition 1. Akil says Vox had a lot of positive impact on the young generation. Yes, I used to look forward to reading Vox magazine every Sunday without fail. Fire Wolfman, big up you. He says, what a time to tune back into swimsuit. Shoot, you say, Papa. Greetings and blessings, ladies and everyone.
Put up a picture just
saying
now.
To you, Fire Wolfman, if y'all put
Then
up
send me
that.
the picture now, let me try.
No.
This is cover. We don't do the center spread. That's the cover.
I don't even remember the center spread. I don't even remember what I was doing, what pose I gave. All you ease me up, no man. All
it
right.
can't be anything compared to what we saw yesterday in the streets of Port of Spain.
Today is Guy's perspective, not Bus Krystal files. Ease me up, please.
Did you not ask for the media specialist to be here?
I forget who I was talking to, you know.
Did you think it would be boring?
Oh my goodness. I cannot with you. But guys, we want to wrap up topic of the day today. So we're just going to give you a couple more. Right, Kate, you want to go first?
Sure.
We want to give you all a couple more signs that a man might feel emasculated in a relationship. And though it mightn't be a word that Jamil agrees with, the fact is some men do feel this certain ways for certain reasons and whatnot. And I will throw it back to him. Not everyone is a mutant like him. You know what I mean? So we just have some regular men out there that feel some type of way about certain things, and we have to address that as well. Right? Go ahead, Kate.
Yeah, so one of the signs is the man is being controlling. So he may have felt like he lost his masculinity, and to regain that, he starts to control his partner. I've definitely been in a controlling relationship.
Tell us.
What
you can.
It was just a very trying time. I was so young, I did not realize what was happening, and he made it feel like I was the problem when he was a very insecure man.
Yeah.
And it's only 10 years later, I think I told this story already, where just last year we met up, and he actually came front and said, he was very insecure and he was afraid of losing me and whatnot, and the best way he knew to do that was to dominate his power by controlling, isolating me from friends. Just controlling in every sense of the word, physically, mentally, emotionally. So that is definitely one of the signs that a man may be feeling emasculated.
How you feel about that, Nige?
Yeah,
you have anything to say?
I agree. It's not my particular way of dealing with it, but I've seen it happen in friends and relationships close to me. It's definitely what some men may go to as the way to try to feel better about the situation, because it's hard for us to see something happen or feel a certain type of way and not do anything. Like, we're not just gonna leave it to happen again or happen continuously. So what are we gonna do? Are we gonna, in this case, control? But that and all is like, for me, it's hard to define that though, for the same reasons we were talking about the previous point. Because what may be controlling for you, Katie, maybe just what some other woman wants.
Yeah.
Yes.
To feel secure.
Yeah.
So it's once again is that balance that's necessary. But definitely for men, I've seen it a lot, especially at carnival time too. I mean, there's a time where your woman out there half naked. Like, are you going to just leave her to be free and you just go about your business? Some men could do that. Some men can't. They'll be hovering, they'll be stalking, they'll be monitoring, and as much as they might feel free to take a wine on somebody else, they ain't really want nobody wine up on a girl. And they definitely don't want her winding up on somebody.
Double standards, but
well, I mean, I'm just saying,
Actually
that's
had
reality.
a debate on front wine and back wine.
Oh yes. Okay. Wine and etiquettes.
And some men were like, no, I don't want my woman front whining on another man, but she could back wine. And then someone's like, well, a wine is a wine, so front wine, back wine, don't matter. And
oh boy.
something about eye contact, and I was like,
yeah,
true. I'm short,
very
so
true, very true.
I was like, I'm short, so it really don't matter front or back.
I mean, it's like missionary. It's like,
I don't think any man would be comfortable with their wife or girlfriend bouncing genitalia through clothes, of course, but dry humping each other front to front. And I don't know a single man that would want
but the way that
that
people whine from the back now with the dagger
like,
and the stabbing is even worse. Like,
you think so? Think about it. Picture it. The front to front whine with the same daggering.
Yeah, I mean,
with
it's
the
a
same
bit more lewd. It's a bit more. And especially if it's a slow grind too. That's a wine.
But that's a whole different scene there.
Wine is a wine.
That's a
It has
Mayfair
different
section
kinds
going
of
on.
wines. It's the slow wine, the grind and getting in their wine.
But if
It
that
has
is
the
not your
daggering
person, you ain't supposed to be doing that.
Exactly. So that's why I said I don't think I know a single man who would be okay with their woman front whining with another man, because you could feel things.
But if you bounce up your woman again,
but don't you feel things from?
Yeah, but it's
from
more,
behind,
it's
like that's outrage.
It's more accepted in our culture to do the back wine.
But
you
from
know,
a man's perspective, he feeling the same thing.
More or less.
More or less.
I would say for the front one, you bounce up on it, and it will make you pause for a minute and observe what really going on here.
Exactly.
When you see that back one going on, you rushing in one time. What do you ask you doing, Saddest?
I was addressing Katie's thing. For a man who, she was saying she has people who may not, or guys that may not have a problem with their girl whining. And I'm saying, yeah, regular wine, right? Whether it be dago or not, front or back, like, you know, a bumper wine, is generally accepted in our culture. But if you with a girl or you with a man, right? Girl with a man with a whatever, you see a significant other front grinding, front to front, holding on for dear life.
That's a love affair.
That's a love affair.
Right? And you grinding down
but
the
they will
place.
give you pause.
I think there's a way to do
because
it.
It's happening.
Right.
You will pause and you will be like, whoa, what's happening here?
Exactly. You're going to feel something.
But the other way you're rushing in, you're not pausing, you're rushing in. You had to stop that one time.
Yeah, you might rush in with another wine. You might see the man on your girl bumper and you'll be like, I take it over from here and come in with the wine. But if you see it front to front, you might want to oppose the fella, be like, what you up on my girl so for? It could lead to other more volatile things because it's looking like an intimate wine.
Yeah, but if it reached that level, you had to take stock and say, well, maybe that's not my
Exactly.
girl. Maybe.
Which proves my point.
Somebody else girl.
Which proves my point. A wine is really not just a wine.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Especially not these days.
That's
Especially
what I was trying to say.
People is be wearing too. That's the next thing.
ASU,
Or not wearing.
listen, them girls, they were wearing strings, you know. Strings,
pride.
you know.
How they made everything
pride.
fit. I
And stay up and stay in.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
You.
Yes, boy. Damn. I want to end this topic of the day with one more point, way in which a man can feel emasculated or how we can exhibit that feeling of emasculation. He shows it via anger. You know what I mean? And usually, typically, not in all cases, of course, but typically it can arise from feeling, you know, like you've not accomplished something or dissatisfied with certain outcomes in your life, or, you know, there's an issue that you could have fixed but you didn't fix it, or you continue to not fix it and you start to feel that loathsomeness towards yourself or whatever, and it can manifest to in anger towards your spouse, especially if you have a spouse that might or wittingly or unwittingly remind you of that. You know what I mean?
That same ex used to get so angry at FIFA video games when he lost. And he used to throw the controller at me.
Oh, wow. At you, though?
At you?
Nah, boy.
Yeah.
And you did.
Feel it.
We are getting a call. Guys, it's a new person. It's a new person. Yay. Hello, caller.
Good afternoon.
Hello,
this
Dion.
voice.
Thank
No,
goodness
it's
it's
not a new
summer.
person, but it's a person who hasn't called in a while. Hi, Dion Carrington. Your phone,
Dion.
your
Hey,
name
how's
is in the
everybody?
phone. Your name is in the phone, which means
Yes, I know.
you're well known here.
I really still need
at
that
O.U.R
book, Dion.
Radio.
All let us treat my special on the station, so that's why my name saved.
Indeed. How you going, hon?
I good, I good.
Okay.
I wouldn't get into my complaints on the carnival season because we will take it well over time.
Well, we get into that
But-
in a bit, so you might get your chance.
I wanted to weigh in just briefly on the topic at hand today. And the reason for that is because, I've been doing a lot of personal work on myself and also investigating masculinity in and around the men in and around my life. And what I've come to notice is a common theme or trend throughout is that most of the issues that we see men facing in their lives isn't a natural issue. It's not something that, just happens just because, but more actually a social issue because we don't train or teach boys how to deal with and face their emotions. I think that is the root of the problem across the board, right? And when we're talking about men feeling emasculated, to feel emasculated, kind of following off of what Jay is saying, is really just to feel insecure about not meeting the expectations of a man or even a boy. And then how people react to that. So, for example, a boy might face it as, he's not really into sports. He might be more interested in drawing or even playing with dolls. And people will say, well, he's a little girl or what? Like that's one way of, quote unquote, emasculating a man or a boy. And then we could take it a step further with a man who, again, using another example that Jay brought up, men are expected to be the breadwinner, right? In modern day, what does Bella say? She says white capitalist patriarchy. That's the way that she defines this word, a white capitalist patriarchy. And men are expected to be the breadwinner. And if a man isn't a breadwinner, then there's certain people out there, and it's definitely in the majority, that believe that this man is not man enough. He's not a man because he's not able to bring home the wealth of the income to the family and then provide as a result of that, right? Jay also brought up making women feel effeminate, which is another issue. It doesn't come up as often as emasculation does, but it does occur. And it's following the same trend, right? With this understanding, this social understanding that men and women have roles that they need to suit or else they are not manly or womanly. Right? And I personally, right, it's a theory I have and I'm working on. I personally believe that these ideologies are falsehood. And no man or woman has to be anything like what the world says masculinity is or femininity is. My belief or my understanding of masculinity and femininity is that they are words that define or encompass traits that oppose each other. Right? And I think the last time I actually called, and it should have been a while back, I was talking a bit about those traits where masculinity is very structured and rigid, which is why we tend to see that men have to follow some very strict and rigid rules, or else they're deemed as other, right? But femininity in its nature is more creative, more fluid. So that's why we have this wide range of how women are able to express themselves, and for the most part, they're all accepted. Right? So coming back to my initial point, being emasculated is really and truly just not being able to define first and foremost, or even know how you feel and why you feel that way. And then feeling like you can't do anything about it. And we see many men, they make rash decisions or they make foolish decisions that make them feel more masculine because they are then taking the agency, the little bit of agency that they do have to do something, whether that thing is right or wrong. It could be cheating, it could be manipulating, it could be controlling, it could be burst of anger and rage and frustration, because that's the small window of emotions that we're allowed to express as boys, right? We're allowed to be angry, we're allowed to scream and fight, but we can't cry though. We can't cry because that's not manly, that's not of a boy, that's not of a man. So as a result, we have to hide that, and we have to show the fierceness that is expected of men and masculinity, the macho expression. And that's where we start reducing ourselves to, Bell Hooks actually says half humans. That's how she puts it across. Yeah.
Let
the
me
way
ask
that we
you.
can, go ahead.
Go ahead, but finish your point, sorry.
okay, just the way that we in culture and socialize men is creating half human beings because they never are given the opportunity to develop their emotional selves. That's the end of my point.
I need to ask, because what you said is you said something that was similar to what Jamil said earlier, J Revolution said earlier. You said that emasculation comes from going against something that is hard to even define, right? Because they're not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, they're not sure, men that is. So maybe it's going against something that they can't define by doing something what they believe is masculine, right? But how can you now go against something that you can't already define? You know what I mean?
I'm trying to make sure that I understand the question that you asked.
It confused me a bit what you said earlier. If I'm not mistaken, you said emasculation can come when a man can't even define what being masculine is, causing them to now do things that they deem masculine. But if they can't define it in the first place, how then can they then decide to do these things that they deem masculine? So then what you're saying is men don't truly know themselves? I'm asking him.
I mean, that is a truth, right? But the point that I was more making is that we deem masculinity or things that are masculine as such a small window or space of I guess a region to explore, you know, that it's difficult to fit into that because human beings are more than that. Male human beings in this instance, but human beings in general. We are way more than that small window that is allowed for men. So what happens is we either suck it up and try our best to meet that expectation, or we push and we are ostracized as a result of it. We are cast away. We are treated as lesser than. We are despised, scrutinized, and etc. You know, because we don't fit into this mold, right? We see it the most with, you know, the LGBTQ community. So gays, even bisexual and trans men would experience it a lot more than straight men do. But straight men also face the same scrutiny. And the scrutiny, just as Jay was saying as well, doesn't only come from men, it comes from women as well. You asked for an example when Jay was talking earlier about how do women contribute to patriarchy. And it's in that same social understanding of what a man is and what a boy is, and forcing men and boys to fit into that mold. So, I mean, I used to teach, and I would see boys. I would see boys start crying, and girls would make fun of them for crying too.
Yeah.
So in that one act, in that one moment, the girl is telling the boy by her actions, you're not supposed to cry, and because you are crying, you aren't meeting my expectations of what you're supposed to be.
Indeed.
Right? Of course, boys do it to each other. I'm not excluding that. I'm just saying it happens as well, right? And, you know, to make matters worse, sometimes teachers do that to young boys too. Parents do that to young boys too. What are you crying for?
Society.
You're not supposed to cry. Yeah. Exactly. Right? So us being uncomfortable, because that's really where it begins. Us as a society being uncomfortable with people expressing themselves is where the issue begins, and it culminates in such a way that it has a very powerful and violent attack on boys and men on a daily basis.
Indeed. Wow, Dion, thank you for your words and your insight. Right, we totally, Nigel, making sense
I mash up, I starting to feel the mash up here now, boy.
Oh, good, she started.
The weight of the world is on our shoulders, our backs. We just had to hold it up for a whole 2 days there. And now Ash Wednesday is more like
Yeah.
More like
more like. But I'm
More
happy
like-
to hear from the callers and the discussion thus far that many men are stepping up and trying to figure out what's happening with themselves. Like,
Yes.
because society has evolved the way it has, we are definitely feeling, as to use the word he just used, uncomfortable with things as they are and as they are happening. So we are looking for solutions.
Yes.
We are asking ourselves the hard questions. And I hope that the members of the opposite sex do the same.
Indeed. I also like that more discussions are being had as it pertains to men and their mental health and their
Correct.
ability to speak out on same. You know what I mean? Because that's a huge deal. If we had that type of a space, you know, for men to, let's say for the last 10 years or more, right? I think like a lot of volatile, you know, circumstances and instances
been
of
prevented.
abuse and that kind of thing would have been prevented. I really do believe that. Kate?
I have a question. I would like for everyone.
Dion, thank you so
Well,
much.
I would like to hear from Dion
Oh, you want to hear from Dion?
and Nigel and everybody. So I don't know if y'all know of the Vogue cover that Rihanna was
Yes.
on with A$AP Rocky and their son. Some men
I'm pulling
are
this up
saying
now.
some men are saying that was a way media is trying to emasculate men. What are your thoughts?
Emasculate black men too.
Black men.
See it.
So what Katie's talking about is a photo. Hold it up to the camera. A photo recently that Rihanna did with her family on British Vogue, and it had Rihanna at the forefront, right, holding A$AP Rocky's hand with him and the baby in tow, and she's literally leading the pack, right? And
Right.
at first glance, I looked at it and I thought to myself, wow, they really have an agenda against black men, boy, and black
Really?
male leadership. I did think that, because I do think that there's an agenda being pushed for the black moms, or the single black mom, and this and that, and they push this on black women. I know this conversation is now starting to veer in a different direction, but just allow me as I digress. It's
That's the same thing.
yeah, it's like you don't see this like that for like white women or other women of other races, but I've seen a push in international media where they push this whole I am black, I am woman, I am strong, I can do everything, thus breaking up the black family. You know what I mean? And it seems as though black male leadership in the role of the family is apparently something to be feared or not to be, you know what I mean? And I think it's being
Correct.
pushed by the white male agenda because they don't want black men to rise up. I have seen that. And that's why when I saw that picture, that's what I thought. They're really pushing this agenda. Like white men don't feel safe around black men unless they're gay and effeminate. But apparently strong black men is something to be concerned about or
Ever since.
or suppressed.
Correct.
I've seen
I'll
that
say-
peddled repetitively in mainstream media.
Colonize the whole scene.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
I'll say two things. The first thing is a question, right? The question is, and it need not be answered right now. So let me say that as well. What's wrong with a matriarch?
Absolutely.
What's wrong with a leading woman,
Egypt
right?
is-
That's, and you know, it again doesn't need to be answered right now. Just posing the question. And the second thing I want to say is that there's a statement that I believe came out of the black feminist movement in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong about that. I could stand corrected on the timing, but the statement is that the greatest thing to fear is a black woman who is aware of her strength. And I extend that and I say a black man who is aware of his emotions is equally as powerful.
That's what exactly.
Because in that, what you are seeing is a black woman exploring her masculinity and a black man exploring his femininity.
If
And
you
all
ask
of us
me-
as human beings need to explore both sides of ourselves.
Yeah. If you ask me, I think it's just an agenda to keep people of color, namely black people, down because they don't want us to realize how powerful we truly are. But that's another story for a different time, another topic for a different time.
I honestly,
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Number one.
It's in a conspiracy at all.
Literally just thought, oh, well, it's Rihanna's Vogue photo shoot. And she included her partner with
Now,
her son.
Mind you,
You just took it at face value.
Mind you, I didn't look at it from just a subjective kind of, it's Rihanna kind of thing. I looked at the symbolism. I think Rihanna was used as a symbol to push that agenda. I do believe that Rihanna is a boss within herself. Right? I'm going to take that off. I do believe that Rihanna is a boss within herself and, deserves to be that boss bitch, if you will. But I do believe her power and that she wields now and her status is used as symbolism to push that agenda.
Well, let me take it to another side because I don't think it's as loud here as it is in the US where African American men are not present in their child's life. And I think some people are missing that narrative of A$AP is holding his son, showing love to his son, and being the father that everybody says is missing. And here he is being the one holding the child as opposed to Rihanna, who we obviously know that mothers, well, I shouldn't say obviously no, but we've painted the narrative that mothers are the one that, hold the child and they're newborn and they're always there. And it's rare to see the father doing that. And here's literally a picture of a man doing it. And it's like, we're emasculating men. And I'm just like, what?
Well, consider
definitely see both sides because,
consider the power of a man being nurturing in the home.
Yes. Listen, that could lead to so much mental health issues being squashed, being fixed. It starts in your home. It really does start in your home.
Yes, indeed. And what Dion said, it really does boil down to, if you want to break the cycle of this whole mentality, it starts with you. And should you have offspring, teach your boys, it's okay to cry, it's okay to be emotional. If you don't like football and sports, but you want to be an artist or whatever, do you, boo. And, you know what I mean? Support that. I think, like, I've met a lot of men in Europe and that kind of thing, and I've found that a lot of them are indeed very sensitive, but at the same time in touch with their masculinity in a way that doesn't involve being totally 100% alpha and macho. It will come out in certain instances where it calls for it. You know what I mean? But for the most part, a lot of men that I've found in certain other cultures don't have to exhibit that whole beating of the chest, macho, alpha, bravado, that kind of thing. It's not needed. It's not necessary until it is. You know what I mean? Dion, I want to thank you for sharing your opinion and your point of view. We certainly appreciate it. Yes. And feel free to call us anytime.
Dion has a book, by the way, guys.
Yes, of course.
Tell us about your book before you go now.
Of course. All right, quick.
Real quick.
The book is called 57 Days of Emotions. Go to my Instagram if you want to find out more about where you can get it. I am D. Carrington, and it essentially journeys through my reconnection with my emotional self through prose and poetry in the main.
Weren't you supposed to be sending us a copy of that book for us to share months ago?
Well, we never finished the conversation.
Oh, because it just
could finish it now, though. Carnival done, and the busy season over. So let's see what we can do.
Time. Yes,
let's see what we can do.
All right.
All righty.
Thank you so much, Dion. Take care.
Yes. Bye.
Hi.
Yes.
I think that's it with that one. We had a let's wrap.
Here, boy. Oh gosh.
Only our media man, the tiredness started. Hey, you're rallying, Nigel. You're rallying with us. We have.
I think we need to put a ban on Sound for Island Girl Talk.
We have
Orange
Erin
Lucozade.
saying, Erin etc. is saying, interesting relating masculinity to war. Purpose and duty is so much more embedded in a boy's mind, not out of desire, but out of the potential call to action, no matter the community or generation. Okay, interesting. I think this was after Jamil's point. Fire Wolfman says the TTNL crew had that whining etiquette convo too. It was most entertaining. There are real variables involved in it, but no front to front. Thank you, Fire Wolfman. No front to front. It's a whole different scene when it's a front to front whine. Erin goes on to say, I have a lot more respect for those boys and men's emotional strength, and I have more understanding for modern men questioning what level of masculinity that the modern woman would want. He goes on to say, this caller's views and insights are also really helpful. It gives me a lot more patience and understanding of the different social expectations and impacts. This is Dion he's referring to. Stefan Warwick goes on to say, strength isn't muscle. People still don't understand true strength, and even big men just cry. Indeed. And lastly, Fire Wolfman says, why couldn't the shot been done with them side by side holding hands? Referring to Rihanna.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? I mean, there are different ways to look at it.
They probably did that,
They
just chose that particular shot.
You know?
For their
I honestly thought it was Rihanna's photo shoot.
Yes.
She just did the Super Bowl.
Yes. It is about Rihanna, and most people would look at it like that. But I do think that she was used for a little bit of symbolism in there because of who she is and her stature. You know? But I digress. That's a whole other topic.
Yeah, what
Guys,
does that say about where we're going?
Exactly. Guys, if you're just joining us, we're your Island Girls. I'm Krystal Khayne.
Kitty C.
And we have Nigel Telesford in the house. Put that camera, Nigel. There you are.
Tired
Dangerous.
Fud.
Put that camera, let me see Nigel. Indeed, right? And we're talking about whether or not you have been, as a man, been in a relationship and felt emasculated at any given time.
We were talking about that.
We were talking about that. We were talking about that, and then
on track.
And then it evolved into different things. And of course, like we do here in Island Girl Talk, we veer. Right?
Please remember to like and share.
Remember to like and share. It's like, yes, Nigel, do your work. Do your work. Only change our camera back, please. Right. Like and share the live, right? If you're feeling generous, of course, share it to your social media. But like the button, please, guys. We always begging here on this show, Like the live, please. And of course, give your insight in the chat room below. But guys, we're going to wrap topic of the day. We have spent 2 hours on this topic when we really were supposed to spend 1.
And in the beginning, we're like, we're not going to go too deep.
But that's why the topic's sweet, We are going to go to commercial shortly. And when we get back, we're going to get a little bit more into it with Nigel and what he's about and all of his observations over the carnival. Talk to us about all the juicy juices.
Nigel is asleep.
Indeed, we'll try to go through it fast, all right? So keep it locked to Island Girl Talk right here on TNT's #1 online radio station, O.U.R radio.fm.
Caribe Hard Cider. Moments made extraordinary.
Yep.
What does it mean to be beautiful? Mama said you a pretty girl. You a pretty girl.
We're back. No sticking today, y'all. Right? If you're just joining us, we're your island girls. I'm Krystal Khayne.
KC.
And Nigel Telesford is in the house. Trinidad and Tobago's publicist. And hey,
Dixie.
Hey, Mr.
What?
Man.
Now,
Dixie sponsored we?
I assume so. It was on the table. Yeah,
That's just for you. That's for you. But Dixie, I mean, if you're looking,
I mean, come true.
Yeah, why not?
Right, Bermudas? But guys, if you're just joining us, we had been covering emasculation as a topic, how a man may feel emasculated in a relationship. And if you missed it, feel free to go back and watch it. We have playback, so don't ignore horrors, all right? But we're moving on, right? Nigel is also our Island Girl spotlight for today. Right? If his face looks familiar, that's because he's always in every event, every fete, every party, every corporate event. You know, sometimes events that you wouldn't even think to see him in. He is a hard worker. My boy is a workaholic. He everywhere. He likes salt. Who said that last time? I think somebody said he likes salt in everything. Right? Well, all right.
I prefer Shadow Benny.
Yeah, like Shadow Benny.
Good for the heart and the arteries.
Shadow Benny don't be in everything,
I was
no.
about to say that.
But you could put it in
But you
almost
could.
everything.
True.
Right, ginger then. Ginger is better.
Nah, that worse.
Ginger's
Salt.
wonderful.
Salt is the best, man.
Salt. Healing.
It really in everything.
I would even say black pepper, but
Indeed. So Nigel, tell us a little bit about, your history and how you became known as one of the go-to publicists in Trinidad and Tobago with under 20 years under your belt. You know, you've been in this, you've been doing it quite a while now. Tell us about your start and what was the catalyst to make you go into it full time? Because we know you used to do other things.
Right.
Talk to us.
Well, it all began with music, of course. Loving music. Oh, no. Actually, it began with reading. As a child, I was a voracious reader. I read every single thing I could find. So after the Enid Blyton and the Hardy Boys and all those things came,
I had tons of
Mills
Enid
and
Blyton
Boons,
books.
which my aunt had a good supply of Harlequin and all those wonderful digestion books and things. My grandfather had a huge library. So I just started reading, crazy reading, which kind of spiraled my mind into writing as well. And then the music came in between. Years later, I found out that my father was a singer. I didn't know him. I didn't grow up with him. And when I eventually met him and realized he had that kind of background, it made sense to me.
Right.
But coming up, it just was something I liked doing, wanted to do. But that was the late 90s, mid to late 90s, when I was in secondary school, Fatima College, big up all the Fatima boys. And I just gravitated towards hip-hop after exploring rock, after exploring, we in Trinidad, so we hearing everything, right? And I got into hip-hop. So I got into music and media at the same time, which is quite challenging to say the least. Maybe not so much nowadays because there's no such thing as a conflict of interest anymore. But at that time, it was a little slippery slope to navigate because, all right, for instance, once I established myself with my group, Spot Rushers, some may know, some may remember,
Spot
some may
Rushers,
not.
boy.
You could do some research on that. I was also a freelance reporter with the Trinidad Express and the Vox magazine. So let's say, for instance, the 99, I think it was 99 when Nas came. So I was scheduled to interview him as a reporter. But I'm also a rap artist. So I really want to give him a CD or a tape or whatever we had back in those days, right? So I walk into the room and Nas, I don't know, well, I had on a Nas jersey and so I was like in the zone. And he just got up and embraced me like a big hug and thing. And I was like, that just threw me off one time. I forget everything I was supposed to do. And I was just there like in groupie mode there. I was like,
yeah, fanboy.
Yeah, just I was there with the questions. Luckily, I had my partner Kwame with me. And he kind of, hey, get
really
together. Like, get together. You have
Get
questions
together.
here to ask, right? Like, and then, so that's just one example of where it could be a conflict where within yourself, like, I have to be a professional here. I'm here to interview him. I'm not here to slip him a CD or bust a freestyle. So it's that kind of thing that over time, kind of weighed on me. I never did radio. I did TV. I did, everything else, advertising, everything in media related. I never did radio because I thought it would be a conflict of interest as an artist. Clearly, that is no longer the case, right? So I almost wish I had done it then because I had many opportunities and I just turned them down. But coming through doing music and media, it got to a point where I had to make a choice. And media was always paying the bills. Music was a struggle. Doing hip hop from this particular location was definitely a challenge. And this was way before social media. This was like I was up on the MySpace. I link up Sean Kingston and all these people networking on MySpace. High Five was just before that. And we didn't have, Facebook was now coming in. And we didn't have Instagram. We didn't have, all of those tools. But we found ways. And I found ways, I should say, more specifically, to market the group and the music every single day. So that was my mission. As the publicist of the group, unofficially back then, I would wake up every day and scour the internet trying to find ways that we could share our music, get opportunities, enter competitions. So that kind of kicked in the whole publicist, marketing, PR kind of side of things. And then, of course, I would write our press releases to put in the newspapers. We have a new show, we have a new album, we have a new gig, whatever it is. And so that kind of was training me for the roles that I have now. And I think when I hit 30 is when I decided, all right, can't serve two masters anymore. I need to choose one. And the media, the media was it. Also around by then, the group was splitting up. Matix went solo. We had all these different dynamics going on. So it was a good time to step away. But because I had lived pursuing music and pursuing this group ideal and this vision to take Trinidad hip hop to the world, as they say, it was hard for me to let it go partially or just say, all right, I wouldn't do it with the group anymore. I'll just do my own. I did one solo album on my own and that was it. I stepped away completely, stopped writing, stopped listening, stopped everything. And like for 2 years straight, just total purge and focus on the media aspects. I launched my company, Overtime Media, and just dove into that. Like at the time, live streaming was now becoming a thing, so we kind of specialize on that. We did a couple great live streams early, Ravi B Band Room, Bishop's Fed, like all those kind of different kind of things. We've really tried to focus on behind the scenes because I felt like that is what was missing from the landscape. And I was always understanding of the fact that as a region, we have a better chance of touching the world than just an island. So I was always thinking Caribbean. So we developed a team in Barbados, got some people in Jamaica. So we reporting on things that happening in these 3 major islands all the time. There was a website, there was a video player, which is almost like a TV station now that I look back on it, where we would just pump the content through there all the time. And it was growing, it was building lovely. We had our challenges on the ground here. We were the official provider for the secondary schools film festival for about 5 years in a row, like trying to give those opportunities to the next generation. And I think the Vox magazine really helped me to understand how important it is to reach and to give opportunities to the young people, because if I didn't get that initial, I didn't actually tell you that. How the Vox thing happened was I was doing A-levels. I was very upset that I was still in Trinidad doing A-levels, because after O-levels, I went to do SATs and bus out. I was playing basketball. I believed at the time I could have made it to the NBA.
I could see that. I could see her.
Well, I can't. My knee's gone since the mid-20s, so it would not be a very long career if I even made it there. But at the time, that was my goal, and the parents decided I should stay and do A's, and that just gave me bummy one time.
Boy,
and I turned into rebellion. I did no work for those 2 years. Mr. Ella referred to me, and probably might still do, as the smartest, stupidest student he has, because I would not do the work. I would duck the classes, go shoot pool, go ingest substances, go track girls. And then when it's time for essay or a test, I would just mash up everybody else.
You see?
That's how it was. But coming down to the end of that year, I think it was 97, a friend of mine reached out to me and said, hey, look, this magazine thing, Vox magazine, why don't you try and write something for that? Like, yeah, for what? Like, no, it's, it's good. You could express yourself, just choose a topic and send them something. And I remember, Tay would remember also, I wrote something about how Christmas has been so commercialized that, we think about Santa Claus and we don't think about Jesus. It was something along those lines. Like, it was a kind of thought-provoking piece. And they immediately called me in. I had meetings and I was on board.
Lovely.
But I was a very shy person. I was very reserved. I was not really, aside from the music part where I have to go on a stage and perform, I wasn't really outgoing to say, like, my school friends would tell you I would be almost terrified to go in a store that I didn't know to buy something.
Really?
Yeah, it was that much.
Be dangerous.
Yeah, that's before I came out of the shell. The media really pulled me out of the shell.
Introvert.
I didn't have a choice. Well, I grew up in the hills of St. Anne's, like on a farm with animals and trees and plants. And I had one older cousin, 5 years older than me, who was there. Other than that, it was my grandparents. So I wasn't really interacting with too many people from a young age. I was more talking to trees and birds and animals and taking care of them. So I developed that passion for nature and that whole eco kind of friendly aesthetic. So when I came down to town, so to speak, and started going to Fatima and moving around Woodbrook and St. James, it was a little scary for me to approach these kind of situations. So I would usually have the friends do it for me. And I would just chill in the background. But once I started at the Vox magazine, Tay and Lisa Allen and all the whole crew pushed me to, hey, it's having a concert Saturday, you had to go. Right. Okay, how again there? I don't know, you figure it out. Okay, so what am I supposed to do there? Interview the people? What? How are you doing that? Yeah, and have the story ready by Monday, 2 o'clock or something. Like, that was it. There was no hand-holding thing.
True, yeah.
And it's either get done or,
Luckily, you were interviewing birds and...
At least I know how to talk to the creatures, right? And then from the reading, I had I think it's probably God-given talent just in expressing it in words and in a way that people could see the picture. That's how I would describe it now. Like, my writing is not really a formula. It's more like a flow. Once I get a start, it flows. The information just flows in a particular way. And people have told me and complimented me over the years that my style in particular makes them see the picture. Like, they can see what I was experiencing at the time. So, pushing back forward to 30 media choice over time, and I worked with Marsha Montano in 2005, I think. The year when he was returning, when he went somewhere for the label thing and all the rumors and whoever, and it didn't pan out right. He hired me. He hired me at the time to make sure his return was as royal as it should be. And then working with him the year, seeing his level of professionalism, seeing the boundaries he was pushing. Of course, we would have all the talks, behind the scenes, backstage, all that. And at the end of the year, he challenged me and he said, Nigel, you did some great work for me this year, ting. But I want to challenge you to do more for the industry, not just for me. I already on a level like doing what I had to do. But you're seeing the voids, you're seeing the spaces, you're seeing all these other people need help them. So that's kind of where the overtime idea came from, and formed the company and just started pushing from there. Interestingly enough, I didn't work with Marshall again. After that, I had worked with Bungie previously. Bungie from start, like, and that kind of goes into our road match talk. But from the start, being a hip hop artist / media person, I was excited by the prospect of Bungie Garland. Somebody who chanting, rapping, however you want to describe it, and coming on the soca scene with that lyrical fortitude and that ability to freestyle was like, oh my God, this is a godsend. He's paving the way here. He's going to open the doors. So I supported him wholeheartedly, even to the extent where I remember my colleague Jermaine Cruikshank from The Express and myself, we had to go and sit down with the great Keith Smith, the late great Keith Smith, who was the editor-in-chief of The Express at the time, and explain to him why Bungie Garland is relevant, because the older folks in the newsroom didn't really, was this thing, this dancehall thing, or they're bringing in everything.
This is rough thing.
They didn't really see it that way. So we had to explain to him and break down the lyrics and show him the socio-political viability
it.
and the relevance of what he was saying and all the songs he was making at the time, as you referenced earlier, you know, were really impacting on the society and making people think a lot more than just go and wine, just go and drink. It's carnival time, but still you could still deal with the issues as the Calypsonians used to do before. It was just a modern style and a way of reaching the generation at the time who had already stopped listening after Rudder and Tambu and that zone. There was a kind of void, like there was nobody for the young people to identify with. And Bungie came, WAP, Destra came, Three Sons came, like that whole squad came up in the late 99, 2000. And this is 22 years later, right? And we're now seeing Bungie coming back around full circle. Having that impact on the carnival now, where that song is a political commentary, is a social commentary as well. It's not just come and wave your hand in the air. It's hey, this is what we're going through, this is what we went through. Let we do this now, let we celebrate this thing, let we embrace it. And we're not going soft, we're going hard. Right? Yeah.
So you mentioned Nas, you mentioned Marshall, you mentioned Bungie.
Right. And then we come into Kes now, who I met, I think it was the last one fete, I don't remember what year that was. And I don't know, somehow in the middle of the fete we just connected and we started talking about energy. All this wildness going on around, people performing, people whining, and we just started talking about energy and seeing the light and moving in those kind of circles and understanding people and the energy struggles and conversations. And from there it just went into a relationship that has been, 10, 12 years now. I've been working with Kes, and I definitely saw him as the next rising star, because we always on the lookout for that with the same Vox magazine aesthetic. Every year you look, every year school ends and there's a new generation coming into adulthood, and they go to party, they go to enjoy themselves, and then they go to work. But those new people need to be kind of ushered into adulthood in a sense, right? So that was the outlook. So then I started working with Kes, and that was, really fulfilling, really fruitful, because of the vibe we started on. It's almost like one of those relationships we were talking about earlier. If you get to know the person in advance, it's easier to communicate when problems or things happen, and easier to relate as well. And then along the way, Second Star came up. So many different companies, so many different organizations, promoters, and it just kind of spiraled into a place where once again I felt the conflict of interest, because I started off as a journalist, so I had to report on things in a certain way. But when you become a publicist, you're really trying to protect the brand and the identity or the company or whatever, the artist. So because it's entertainment, it's not really too hard, as I tell people, because some people have accused me and were accusing me in previous years, of utilizing the Express platform as a way to push my clients and a way to, which of course any publicist will do. Like it's not me alone. Everybody, all the publicists send their releases. The newspaper is not obligated to publish them. Right. But if I have a writing style and I have a name and I have relationships, they're probably going to take on my own a little bit more than somebody else. But at the same time, I can't just write fluff and just say, oh, this one is the greatest, and it's not even true. And as I've told people as well, if something happens at an event and I'm covering on behalf of a newspaper or a media house, I have a responsibility to state the information and tell the story as it happened. I can't cover it up. Like if there's a fight or there's a stabbing or I can't cover it up and say, no, this event was great, but thousands of people saw something happen, right? So there's no way to really like cover or be more publicist than journalists. If I'm not reporting on behalf of a newspaper or media house, then I can send a press release as a publicist, which is in the best interest of my client, which is a totally different kind of piece. And it's still up to the discretion of the newspaper and the editors to publish.
Indeed. This is
I
really
talked too long there already.
No. I had to make it quick though, because there's so much we want to get into with you. Still, I think that we're looking at a 3 o'clock late.
It's 20 years of I haven't really done any of these.
I would like to know, because you mentioned Barbados and Jamaica.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere else in the world that you doing your job, whether music or publicist journalism has taken you?
Oh yeah, I was based in Miami for a while during this whole COVID thing. I just had to get out to Trinidad. It was just crazy. But generally, the outlook is taking Caribbean music, talent, culture, fashion, everything to the world. So anywhere that I could find opportunities to do so, whether it's a designer or a company that's creating something, or an event promoter in Miami or Barbados, anywhere, it's always a challenge for me to see how I could understand what they're trying to do, understand the vision they have, translate it into whatever media assets are necessary, whether it's press, video, radio, whatever, and coordinate it in a systematic kind of way. That's what we try to, over time media, that's what we try to pride ourselves on doing. Because a lot of people can get some interviews and they can get you some press and they can get your picture here or there anyway. But to coordinate it in a way for maximum impact, maximum effect, as well as cement the message that you want to send. So in the case of Kes, I think I did a great job taking them from where they were to where they are. I mean, they definitely did their part in terms of the music and the live performances and stuff, but it was necessary for me to, and that's another thing. We realized along the way that there was a disconnect because our artists were doing carnival here and then disappearing for 9 months and then they come back. And they come back expecting the same kind of fanfare and the same relations that they had 9 months ago, but it's 9 months later. So what we try to emphasize to them is, during those 9 months, take us out on the road. You don't have to go everywhere, but the most important ones, so we can report, we can take the pictures, we can get the videos, send them back home. And that's what we started doing with Kes. The year when he had all the summertime hits on the rhythms and stuff, right? That kept that connection to the audience here. So that when he came back, so when he came back, it wasn't a new thing. It wasn't, hey, Kes, hey, we rallying, we rolling with you. And then he came back with people. So it was like, yeah, for sure, you know, and it just spiraled into that kind of overwhelming wave, which is what we want as publicists. You want to keep your clients at the forefront of the industry, whatever particular industry they're in, and keep their brands, you know, represented in everything that's positive and productive.
Indeed. So we talked about your clientele. Well, a little nice cross section of your clientele. Right. I wouldn't ask you about which companies you work with, because I mean you may have clauses and
no. So. I mean, we did stuff with Rent a Amp, we did stuff with Super Farm, we did stuff with.
I'm a placing.
Yeah, different. I mean, it's a wide variety because you just always took it as a challenge. Because I think one of the last strange ones was these bed people on the highway there. It was a different they make the mattresses and stuff. I try to remember, and I have a whole bunch of views for them on Google too. Okay. The name just slipped me right now, but they asked us to help promote a sale they were doing, and it's like a totally different thing. Like, I have no idea about making beds, and learned so much about how much goes into that, and then to be able to spread it and to spread their messaging in a way that it had an impact for sure. You know, we haven't worked with them since, but that's because it kind of touches on the topic we were having before, in the sense of understanding your own worth and not being afraid to stand up for that, because for a long time we were under the radar, and you know, just pretty nice, friendly pricing. But then we realized, wait, this is the impact we're having, this is what we are bringing to the table. We can't be cheap. It doesn't make any sense.
Know your worth.
Time
and energy we putting into it, we have to be paid a premium.
Indeed.
And that's difficult, you know, in Trinidad society, where nobody likes to sign contracts and nobody likes to deal with paperwork, and it's always a word of mouth, handshake kind of thing. But then they could swing back and say, no, I ain't really thinking that.
But it's clear that you're getting that respect now.
Yeah, well, it's being demanded. So this season in particular, it was a case of, all right, we have a cutoff time, we have a standard fee to join the roster. Once you're on the roster, anything can happen. You can add on services or not. But if you're not on the roster, then after this time, I really can't help you. Like, I don't have the time. I can't compromise the paying clients to help you for less or cheap or free. I mean, there's some people who I would help because of relationships from the past and stuff. But At the same time, it had to work within the flow
of what's happening.
Yes,
of what's happening.
indeed.
Is there any brand or product or service that you would want to work with that you haven't worked with?
In Trinidad?
In general, yeah, anyway.
Yeah, no, maybe outside.
Let's say, have you worked with dancers before?
Dancers?
Ooh,
yeah.
Shoot your shot, you know, Katie. Shoot your shot.
No.
Yes, I
my brain
actually
is
worked
always
with
in-
the World of Dance when they went
Okay.
to LA. I went to
Yes,
LA with
yes.
them and publicized that whole. Yeah, I
Nice.
work with I work with Hamid a lot. Him and I bounce ideas off each other all the time. Anytime I have a song I'm excited about, I just ask him to do a little dance thing for me for a dance challenge.
Very
so we
cool.
always kind of, and he actually called me to do some work this year when they were supposed to do some performances with at certain soca
Yes.
concerts.
Yes.
And it didn't actually work out,
Right,
so we
right,
just
yeah.
Yeah.
he might probably holler at me as the season done now and
Love
see what
Hamid.
we could do still. Yeah,
Indeed.
Hamid is
Yeah.
Hamid is the go to
Indeed.
dance and the dong.
So I wanna. So we talked about, you know, what you've been up to, your past, who your clientele, etc. I want to know now what's new on the horizon. A little somebody told
sneak
me
peek.
that you have a new magazine to be launched soon.
Zagazine,
A new
yes.
digital magazine.
I'm
Tell us a
working
little bit
feverishly
about
on it.
huh?
That's unfortunately why I was a little late today. I apologize
okay.
again.
That's all right.
Because once I woke up, I had to coordinate with the designer and stuff. And so yes, I have recognized the void for entertainment within Trinidad and Tobago as well as the region, right? There are newspapers, there's lots of websites, there's social media stuff happening, right? But there's no solid publication for anywhere in the world to say what's going on in the Caribbean.
Yes.
Like who's the hot people, who, you know, what's happening in these festivals. You might get these one-off reports on things, but there's no publication that's doing that. And I said, you know what? It needs to be done. The void is there, especially at a time when the world is watching it, looking to see what we have, what we're offering. Why the newspapers do not focus enough on entertainment. And that to me is the thing that drives us more than anything else. Yes, we have oil and gas and all of that, but when people get up in the morning, they ain't studying to check how much oil and gas they have. They're going to turn on the radio. They're going to put on their headset or whatever and motivate themselves into their days, no matter whatever occupation they may be in. So, and then aside from that, we know that Carnival is a big release and a lot of people withhold their own freedom until that specific period of time. So entertainment is so vital and key to who we are as a people and how we live, how we express ourselves. So I definitely think there's a need for it. So I'm going to take the risk. I have a couple comrades, colleagues who have been disenfranchised by the current media landscape, and they're professionals. They could cover stuff, they could interview, they could take photos, they could do videos. So we have all been talking over the past 3 years. And actually Joan Rampersad, who was at the Newsday for a long time, she retired now. She brought up the initial idea right before COVID. She was planning to launch a website and kind of talk to me about coming on board and stuff, and I was down with it. But then COVID happened, so it didn't happen. So now I'm reaching back out to her to say, Joan, let me do it now. Let me just do it. We'll figure it out. We'll work it out. We'll get some sponsors on board, hopefully. If not, we go buy the bullet for a little while and see how it flows, because I just think it's necessary. It's the thing that's missing right now.
Indeed. All right, so are we wrapping up? We're winding down. I want to ask you quickly, what advice you can give someone who's looking to, make their foray into this industry that you're in, into media,
PR
of
stuff.
course. Yes.
I think because I was an artist first, it gave me a better understanding of how to deal with the artist and also what the artist is looking for and the kind of outlook that's necessary. So I would say anybody trying to get into it, apprentice yourself first. Hang around, file, stick around, lime around in the studio or the band room or wherever. Look, observe, take notes, figure out what's happening, exactly, because there's so many different components to these things, right? There's the band, there's the engineers, there's the roadies, there's the performer himself or herself, whoever it may be. Then there's management, then there's PR, so you have to really understand the whole picture, the whole landscape before you can even start to market it or publicize it. You have to know what it is first and because in any situation like with Kes is not really Mr. Outgoing, always gonna say something. As a matter of fact, he's kind of the opposite. He's more laid back and chill, right? But in having to publicize him is often a challenge to get him to say what I want him to say, or what might be, in my opinion, the best thing to say. But then he has his own particular viewpoint on things, so he would express that, and then I have to translate that into what is
make it one nice package.
What is public friendly.
Right. Cool. Well, before we wrap this part up, tell the people how to reach you online now.
Oh yes, well that's also part of the
services.
That's also part of the process with this Zagazine, I'm calling it.
Zagazine,
yes,
I like that.
Because a magazine is, you have a vision of it already as a paper thing. This is all digital, this is mobile, this is tech savvy, this is clickable, this is interactive, this is videos, this is photo galleries, this is everything coming together in one. So Instagram over time, TT is the handle, and I've been challenged and I've been toying with the idea of separating the brand and the business from myself, because I started as my personal page and I just use the handle. But I've been told by PR experts in other countries that I am the brand and I am the identity. So I'm going to try to embrace that starting today. This is also part of that. Yeah. So you all, Krystal had the first swimsuit issue. You all also have the first me coming out of the shadows and representing my brand and becoming the brand and representing the identity of the brand from this day forward. As I said, with this in particular, I'm going to do a video where I cut them off one by one and explain the experiences that happen in each one.
Who didn't go.
There you go.
And then maybe that will bring people to the...
I mean, it's just, I went to the gas station yesterday and the person taking the money was like, could I have one of your bands, please? And I was like, what would you do with it? Like, it's not even valid.
It's to tell people that they went.
No, she just liked how it looked and she wanted one. I'd give her one, a colorful one from somewhere, I can't remember.
All right. Well, speaking about giving people a post-mortem of the fats by cutting out the band one by one, we want you all to stay tuned. We're running a little behind time, but that's okay. We want to hear the juice for Carnival, right? But guys, we're going to wrap up the Spotlight segment right about now and come back quickly with our Sip and Spill segment where we put Nigel in the hot box.
What am I sipping exactly?
You don't worry about that.
You're
brands, sipping on... Well, all right. Well, we will discuss that after.
I'm just kidding.
Right? But we will be sipping and we will be spilling with our Sip and Spill segment up next, sponsored to you by Caribe Tropical Hard Cider. Keep it locked right here to Island Girls Talk. I'm Krystal Khayne.
KDC.
And we have, of course, Nigel Telesford in the house. Boom, boom. Camera on him.
Oh, my goodness.
Caribe Hard Cider. Moments made extraordinary.
Turn up the heat, cause them not ready for the fire. On the street, we are beat it. Hustle every day, yeah. Now let them know your secret plan. Burn out all the bad minds, send them back to Babylon. Make them know dominion, it was given unto man. Right is right, so me not care if them want do the wrong. Them brutalize and capitalize upon the weakest one. At them name Babylon, for that me I got chant them down. Make them know a sinking sand, them build them castle pond. One day me show the most of him will turn things around. Yeah. Pull up so never make them see you with a frown. Me know the system really rough, but don't you let them get you down now. Turn up the heat, cause them not ready for the fire. On the street, we are beat it. Hustle every day, yeah. Hustle and a player. From night into day, yeah. Man, a band with gold spoon, me just a do what me say, yeah. I'm not forget for prayer. For the worm every day, yeah. Like in a a strike in the same place twice, can me shot him ever there, yeah. Me not deal up in a day falling, me not joke and me not clown. Such a short way up, but a very long way down. And na freaking weekend come me gun up in a the land. A street we a beat it, turn up in a this song, yeah. Pull up so never make them see you with a from. Me know the system really rough, but don't you let them get you down now. Turn up the heat, cause them not ready for the fire. On the street we a beat it, hustle every day, yeah. Now let them know your secret plan. Burn out all the bad minds, send them back to Babylon. Make them know dominion, it was given unto man. Right is right, I mean not care if them want do the wrong. Them brutalize and capitalize upon the weakest one. At them name Babylon, for that me I got chant them down. Make them know a sinking sand, them build them castle pun. One day me show the most of him will turn things around, yeah. Pull up so never make them see you with a frown. Me know the system really rough, but don't you let them get you down now. Turn up the heat, cause them not ready for the fire. On the street we a beat it, hustle every day, yeah. Oh nah, oh nah. Now make them beat you down. Turn that frown upside down into a smile. Oh no.
I'm a dime boy. Besides you, got money on my mind. So these other girls, I ain't got time for them. What's going on, baby girl?
Damn, you got this thing on lock. Know what to touch to make my heart stop. Oh, you hit all the right spots.
Know you like that.
Don't got to tell you what to do. Then you turn me around. Then my back, my hands are on the ground. I bite my lips, try not to make a sound. I'm feeling every inch of you.
Come on.
You make a girl feel special, special, special. Some type of way. Special, special. You make a girl feel special, special, special. Some type of way. Special, special.
If you got the time, we could do this. Okay, we can sip a little vino or something. Take a couple shots like free throw or something. Invite a friend, make it a 3 or something. And I always be there like a hero or something. You know, you just gotta let me know if you with that. Let me know. If not, well, then forget that. Old girl's calling, but no get back. You look good with me, no mismatch. I just wanna pick you up. I just wanna lay you down. I wanna get in and cause I wanna hear those sounds in a room filled with people. There's nobody else around. Cause a dime boy knows when it's worth something and you're worth it. Cause you're perfect. Spark.
Special, special, special. Some type of way. Special, special. You make a girl feel special, special, special. Some type of way. Special, special. You know exactly how I want it. Love the way you work it. Touch and kiss and feel it. Special.
Come here, girl.
So special.
Special, you know that. You know you got it.
So special. You make a girl feel special, special, special. Some type of way. Special, special. You make a girl feel special, special, special. Some type of way. Special, special. You make a girl feel special, special, special. Some type of way. Special, special. You make a girl feel special, la, ooh, la 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 love, ooh, love, love, la 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 love, la 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 love. We are all humans, different stories to tell. We've all been through it, our own versions of hell. And if we would listen to what one has to say, it's all the same struggles, just a different face. There is one thing that we all wanna feel, and that makes us matter, that makes us real. And baby, yes, there is one thing that we all need, and that doesn't say our color, race, or creed. We all need love, yeah, 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 yeah. We all need love, yeah, 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 yeah. We all need love, yeah, 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 yeah. We all need love. Life, it is a journey. Every road has an end, and it's never easy. Many corners and bends. Nothing's forever. Everything has to change. But there is one thing that remains the same. Yeah, there is one thing that we all wanna feel, and that makes us matter, that makes us real. And there is one thing that we all need, that doesn't see our colors or creed. We all need love. We all need love. We all need love, yeah, yeah. We all need love, yeah, yeah. We all need love, yeah, yeah. We all need love. Love, la 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 la, la la la, oh, la 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 love, oh oh. Love, 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 love. La la la, la 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 la, ooh, love, love. La 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 love. We all need love, love, yeah,
And we are back. We are back with more show for you guys. Guys, it's your girls. It's your island girls. I'm Krystal Khayne. And of course, we have as our co-host for Guys Perspective, Nigel Telesford in the house.
I'm still here.
He's
still
hosting with
here,
us today.
spending the whole show with us. Guys,
Somebody had to buy me breakfast.
yeah.
Breakfast.
Well, I haven't had a meal. The apple that's breakfast.
So
Okay,
the little
lunch then.
refreshments we have for you is not enough. All right.
It's enough to
You want
keep
to be
me
wine and
alive.
dine,
Yeah.
Nigel?
I need to be wine and
Okay.
dine, of course. In this
Yes,
world where men and
indeed.
women are equal.
Right? So, guys, if you're just joining us, we had Nigel today discussing the topic of the day. Are you a man that feels sometimes emasculated in your relationship? We also spotlighted him, to get a little up to date, to let people know who he is and what he does in the community. He's a respected man in the community. You understand? Behind the scenes, the man who is behind quite a lot of artists, companies, etc., as a publicist and a media specialist, right? But right now it's time to put Nigel in what? The hot box with our sip and spill
That's
segment.
a whole different connotation.
Was that?
In some
you
societies.
catch on. I know a man like Nigel with a coat on, You know what I mean?
Yes.
Of course, Sip and Spill is sponsored to you by Caribbean Tropical Hard Cider. But before we get into it, we would like to y'all to make every moment extraordinary with Caribbean Hard Cider. Try the all-new cocktail-inspired mimosa, the champagne-inspired brut, and don't forget rosé with the same refreshing taste you love. Caribbean Hard Cider, new look, new flavors, new taste experience. Drink responsibly. All right.
I really like the rosé, I must say.
Kitty, we commence our Sip and Spill segment, sponsored to you by Caribbean Hard Cider.
Making myself into here, boy.
Don't knock it, Nigel. Don't knock it. Don't knock it. Now, I want you to ready yourself, because this is where we ask you all kinds of out of time and questions. We don't prep you for these questions. It's in an effort for people to get to know more about you, see a different side of you, see how you react to certain things. You're allowed to plead the fifth once.
1/5? In 6 by 2, 12 questions?
You're allowed to plead the fifth
Well, you're
only
lucky Trinidad
once.
don't have that law, so I mean.
Right?
True. Very true.
And we asking you all kinds of things. Casey, you want to go first? Or should I?
I think you should go first. My question.
Nigel, this is a real personal question. You ever thought about having another child?
Oh, yes, of course. As soon as I get another 2 million.
Another
I ready
children is money.
I have 2 boys and they are wonderful, but they're also very expensive because they're very smart. I need to send them to private school to push them, and they're doing quite well. And the talk about the girl has been constant ever since the first boy. That's how the second boy came, actually. And yes, I love children. And as somebody who didn't grow up with my dad, I definitely try to be a super dad.
Indeed. Nice. I was gonna tell you sip before you spill, but he done reach halfway already.
Yeah. I do really sip. I drink.
You drink. Yes,
drink responsibly.
You do your thing.
Okay.
Kate,
are you lying to yourself about anything?
Ooh.
Am I lying to myself about anything?
KTC.
Yeah.
Yes, she does that sometimes.
I guess the answer is yes. Probably yes.
I see.
You don't
divulge. You don't have to. You don't have to share too much if you don't want to. But
yeah, no, I probably shouldn't share that at all. But I guess let me put it in a generalized kind of context. Certain realities exist that you may not want to exist, and you may prefer others, and you will kind of try to fool yourself, tell yourself, it could be like that, it could be like that. But especially when you're dealing with other people and you're not in control of them, of course.
Yeah.
You have to be aware of what is real and what is reality.
Interesting.
That's a good way to put it.
All right, Nige. As a wordsmith, right, I want to ask you, which word would you use if you could only use that word for the rest of your life?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, that's
the best word. That's the best word.
Yes.
That's the best word.
I'll get you everything.
That's my focus phrases, yeah.
Good trouble and bad trouble, but you still get.
You still get.
All right. Talk to us, Kate.
What is a compliment you wish you got?
A compliment I wish I got. That I haven't gotten.
Yeah. Or maybe not regularly enough. You look at it that way.
That's a hard one. I get a lot of compliments. I think I do a pretty good job. I mean, I get a lot of criticisms too, but
doesn't have to be work related.
I haven't got. No, I'm thinking across the board. Like, I get complimented about my super daddiness. I get complimented about my work. I get complimented. I really can't think of any.
That's okay.
That I would want, like that I haven't gotten.
Something that you think people should notice about you.
I guess maybe my own contribution to the culture. The contribution of the media, the scribes to the culture, and yeah, that would probably be it. Now, coming to think of it, there's a bunch of people who have been in careers for 20 years who have never said thank you.
Indeed.
That way, in that
All
way.
right, good one.
That's a nice one.
I've got one. What is the greatest risk you've ever taken?
The greatest risk. Aside from what led to my 2 children.
Oh gosh. Oh my.
The greatest risk, I would say, during the COVID, I had to segue. I had to find some way to, entertainment was down and out. So I had to find some way to live, right? And I opened up a little pizza place upstairs by my house. Yeah. And so I'd send pizzas, phone cards, cigarettes, whatever, just to bring the traffic. But it was really the pizzas. And people were loving it. It was doing well. I made some money, paid some bills, kept
You were making
afloat.
the pizza?
No. I was getting it from the mother of my children. It actually started with her because she would give me the pizzas frozen as when I had the boys, because I take them 3-4 days on my own and I keep them. So to have an extra meal, a quick easy meal, she would give me the frozen pizzas and I would eat them up. And I started eating it and like, but it's real tasting good though. Like, why you can't sell this?
Yeah.
She was like, no, that's not ready for sale. That needs more work and recipe. I was like, listen, just give me 10, please. Let me just try 10 this weekend, and that was it.
That was it.
I had to start buying boxes and napkins and cutter and oven and
very cool.
Turn into a whole thing.
Nice. Kid.
If your life was a book, movie, or song, what would be the title?
The book is coming. I hope that the book inspires a movie. What's the next thing? The title.
What would the title be?
No, if you don't want to, don't give it away. It could be the fifth.
Oh no, I wouldn't
But
give
if
away
you're
the title
live,
for the book, but for to encompass me, I would probably say, this is the word that comes to mind, and it's probably because it is Caribbean. Gemini.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
So that
Are you a
rules
Gemini?
out my next question.
Okay.
All right.
Why did it rule
I was going to
out
ask
the
him about horoscopes, but
horoscopes. I like horoscopes.
I have one. It kind of messy in a sense.
Or saucy?
But you don't have to call names.
That's
Right?
saucy. That's not
Not too saucy. It just means it might have to out somebody. But don't call the name. Who's the messiest person you've ever known?
I've ever known. You mean like in physical mess? Like
Yes,
like,
a messy person. Or
You
it could
can
be,
interpret
or it
what
can
must
mean
be.
messy as in, bacchanal too. But you don't call the name. Find a creative way to say.
person, boy. Messiest, you say? That's a hard one.
It's a hard one.
Yeah, because I wouldn't really lime around them too much. When I see that, I would just move away.
So
now.
we're talking messy in terms of bacchanal.
In both aspects. Like if I see somebody, because a mess would dictate that you're not managing yourself properly or your resources or whatever. So I can't lime around that because then I'll end up in trouble too. I'll end up in the mix of the mess. Nah, I stumped on that one.
You stumped on that one.
Can't
You
think
pleading
of
the
who was
fifth.
so messy. No, I'm not pleading the fifth. I just can't remember a person who I could not call their name
Yeah.
and describe. Messiest person, boy. No, nobody even coming to mind. Like
Well, that might be a good thing.
that's a good thing, I think.
Yeah.
Let's,
We'll do one more round,
let's keep it
kids.
clean.
Right?
Cleanliness
You
is
next
next
or
to
me?
godliness.
What is or was the hardest quality about yourself you had to understand or accept?
The hardest quality about myself I had to understand or accept. There's a couple. It's not just one. There are a few, or there were a few. I've worked on some of them. But I think understanding my early upbringing, my relationships with my parents that have been strained over time, and they're just unique. Like it's difficult to describe in one sentence, but understanding that and how it affects me now and how I can condition myself to change my reactions.
Yes.
Right.
Interesting.
That's a nice
I
one.
like it. I want to do one more and I'm going to get
I
steamy
feel
with
like
this one.
I bore in here, boy.
Yeah,
it's
no
not the kind
boring.
of steamy answers
I'm
you all
going to get
wanted.
steamy. You see, we
Oh,
try
boy.
to kind of
Oh,
go with
you-
the energy of
oh,
our
boy.
guests, but it's time to
This
steam
is
it up.
leading me on to.
What is your drink more, Caribbean man? Drink more. Make that
This
tongue
is not
loose.
alcohol, does it?
Make that tongue loose.
Oh, it does.
You ready for this question? What was your craziest sexual encounter?
Craziest? I definitely always wanted to try the tree something, and I did, and it wasn't all that, so I never did again. But I guess that would be it.
Okay,
Like, it was-
Panda.
want to
Well, I
know
mean,
why
I
it
did have
wasn't.
some escapades in my younger days. the location didn't really matter to me. So I did have some interesting locations as well.
Okay, care to divulge?
There was a scene by a river, which is not a river in the country, but a river in the heart of the city.
Oh my! Whoa!
And yeah,
only one river comes to
One
mind.
river that comes to
In
mind.
the heart of the city. What?
Well, Mr. B. Dangerous.
I mean, it was night and
It was carnival time or what?
it was not.
What is this?
It was quite a
This is an interesting tune.
choice, a decision at the time. Yeah.
It's really that Caribbean does something, boy. You know
I
what,
mean,
Katie?
That was how many moons ago? Like,
Were you en route to somewhere?
oh no,
And-
that was the destination. That was the.
Okay.
Oh boy!
There was-
All right,
There was.
Got it.
Katie. And with that, we wrap our Sip and Spill segment.
Krystal's like, okay, we don't need to hear no more.
Sponsored to you by Caribbean. We don't need to hear no more. I need to hear that after we wrap the show, though.
Well, I just had a little phone call there with some bacchanal that I should make mention of in terms of those results that we just.
All right, hold that thought.
Yeah.
So you know what? We just wrapping Sip and Spill, but we're not going to break. We're gonna go right into Let's Talk Trends with the rightest person, Mr. Nigel Telesford. Right? Nigel, short and sweeter. We way over time, but we had to get into the bacchanal.
Okay,
Right?
well, I'll go down
So
the timeline from the start of the carnival, right?
I want to hear what is this thing you
The
just
talk-
heard.
Well, we'll get to that.
Oh,
the trend,
gosh.
the talk at the start of the carnival was about diminishing patronage. Everybody scaled down.
Yes,
all the events were
I noticed
smaller.
that.
So as much as we saw the videos and the drones and everything make everything look great, most promoters would say they had a definite decline in terms of patronage.
Yes.
Right. Then we went into the Nessa Preppy mic pulling incident, which
Yes, I
was
heard about
trending
that.
for one day and seemed to be resolved
I
by the
find they
next
do her
day.
dirty, man. They did her dirty.
Well, I mean,
I
it was
see
her
both
manager, so you know,
Right.
if that's how they communicate generally, and she didn't seem to have a problem. It's not like she was vexed at him.
Yeah.
Maybe she
You
knew
know.
where he was coming from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's how they
I
communicate,
think
so
he
she would
was just like, let's
understand.
go.
Yeah, that was the translation, right?
Yeah.
You know, and then we had the whole road march thing going on for the longest while,
Yes.
and now I'm hearing that there's some disputing with reporting and those plays, particularly in Tobago and particularly in South. People have reported, well, I can't reveal my sources, but credible sources have reported to me just like 5 minutes ago that the count is off
Oh,
in certain places, and the people who signed off on the count and sent it to the authority are flabbergasted that this is occurring at this time.
oh wow. Guys, you're hearing it here live and direct
Live
right
and-
here on Island
and
Girls
direct.
Talk. Right on O.U.R radio.fm in real time. Repeat for the people, please, Nigel. What is going on with the count for the road march?
It is in dispute, and it may be disputed. Perhaps I think the relevant parties are still considering a course of action. What is the
Oh
course of
my.
action in this case? Because it's clear to those in the know that some tampering may have occurred, and it also
Oh my
coincided with
goodness.
the third place person being that high up as well.
Olia,
So
this is from credible sources, right?
this is I was just on the phone there like, yo,
What is this?
what is happening?
Things are unfolding in
Now,
real time.
I mean, I felt that there should have just been a tie, because both
Yeah.
songs are so relevant
So, yeah.
to this carnival and to the people. I think it captures,
The
everybody's
essence
heart
yeah.
right now, and they should have both just tied and been
Yes.
joint
Yeah.
road march or whatever it is, and that would make it even sweeter. We have
Yeah.
two songs to market to the world, because
Yeah.
I definitely believe Nile and Skinny song is,
Yeah, take
that could be a
win. Yeah,
soundtrack,
yeah.
that could be a movie, that could be a a festival sporting thing.
It's
And
an
it's
anthem. It's an
not,
anthem.
not just for the carnival
Yeah, it's
season. Those
not-
two songs.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
not
And
for
then
the,
Bungie thing
yeah.
could go, I mean, I think about a remix with Busta Rhymes
Yes.
or somebody
would
like
love
that,
it. Indeed.
like that could go a whole next direction, you know. So
before we wrap this though, I want to talk about where those rumors came from with regards to Peter Minshall passing away. What was that
I don't know
about?
where that came from. I was on the move through the bands and stuff yesterday. I saw it in a group, in the news group. Oh, big up to the news group, News and Soca Media Group, Warren Civic and Nikisha and everybody. We have a group there of real industry players, DJs, producers, artists, managers, publicists. So we always have hot topics in there, right? And and that rumor just came. I believe the presenter from TTT, Nicola Barto, maybe have started it in the Savannah. She got it from somewhere, but somebody said that almost every year they try to kill Peter Minshall with rumors. So
poor Peter.
In response, his family said, "No, he's very much alive. Nice try yet again."
And that was
yet
lovely
again.
to
He's
hear.
accustomed. Yeah, I was like holding my breath, like, wait now, you mean to say this mask so terrible that it killed the man? Like, oh God, please, no. I'm glad that he's alive and well and can still, be there to contribute and to serve as a resource for. I mean, he's a guy, he's a little different. I've met him and interviewed him a couple of times, and you have to get to, understand how he works and how he come from a different time altogether, but he's still cool. He's still, he's still willing to share. And that's important, for those now coming into it or those exploring the whole mass dynamic. There's a whole different level of understanding. It's not, you see the bikini and beach thing is one thing, but the whole concept behind it, the expression of ourselves and slavery and freedom and black power and all of these things intertwined. You need to really get a true understanding of that. And he's a guy you could, once he on a good day, you could get him to talk and share some of his stories and things, and it's like eye-opening, groundbreaking.
Indeed. Lastly, I want you to touch on that story that had been on everybody's lips, Marshall's 40 Fats, the gripes that the patrons had and the subsequent apologies involved. Tell us a little bit about that before we wrap trends.
Well, I probably shouldn't, but from my perspective, I was hired by J Upscale since early January, somewhere around there, because I worked with him before when they did the Big Bad Soca in Lara Stadium with Cardi B a few years ago, right? And there were incidents there that, as the publicist, I had to kind of protect his brand from. So I saw him in Miami last year, October, and he said he was coming with something big for Carnival, and he would check me. I didn't know what it was at the time. Boom. When he came with it now, we got on board pretty quickly, and from there, it just went to some other place. Now, I will say that a certain water-loving Lord told me that there was deliberate sabotage on the part of a segment of the organizing team.
This is from a credible source, Nigel. Oh gosh.
In order
Nigel. The views of Nigel is not the views of Island Girl Talk or O.U.R Radio.
I'm just saying what I was told.
But as a publicist and a person in media, he will get the inside scoop on certain things.
I was not surprised, to say the least. As a matter of fact, that night, my vibe was so off of that, I literally gave away all my passes till I just had one left. My younger sister, showed up by me dressed and ready to go, just assuming that I would be able to take her. And I only had one pass left. And I had a partner from school days who begged me weeks in advance, repeatedly, to organize for him and his wife. I had already given him one for his wife, and I was looking for another one. And I was like, you know what? Go and enjoy yourself. I'm not going. You fix up. Yo, tell me how it was. And every single person I gave passes to reported to me that I had trouble by the door, issues, anything, all the issues that were online, definitely. And of course, there were the people who would protect the brand, and they would say the performances on stage would overlap all of that. But even from the site visit a few days before, it was clear that things were not progressing for that to be successful as they usually would have been in place by then. When you go to a site visit for Machel Montano concert, and there's only the stage and nothing else is in place, you know something wrong. So from that, I had an inkling and I had a vibe, and I say, you know what? I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to push it. And it's better, help these other people enjoy it. They really into that experience. Go ahead. And I just did something different and relax. And then I started seeing and hearing all these stories the next day. And I was like, well, I'm not even surprised.
Well, there you have it, people. All the trending topics all the juicier topics of the carnival season thus far. And this one ongoing with regard to the road march.
Yes. Must big up Voice, Vibe with Voice. He was the best show as far as I'm concerned. I ended up on stage. I wasn't even supposed to be there. The photographer left to go to Tribe, and I just had to fill in his place. And I was right there for all the action in the second half and seeing the crowd. And then the rain came down, and it was just sweet, just lovely. I really think Voice is a genius, and he's definitely next up. He has the team already in place. He has his business acumen in place. Is the first younger soca artists I've seen make sure and take care of their business first, put things in place so that they could take themselves to the next level.
Indeed. Boys, big up you. Right? So guys, we're gonna wrap. Let's talk trends right about now. We're gonna thank Nigel for giving us the inside scoop. We will certainly keep on the story of the road march because this is really unfolding.
I got you.
Right? Katie got you, right?
Okay, thanks.
Before we go, we're going to come back with, of course, our Empowerment Minute. But before we go, let's just keep in touch with our audience here. We have Shay Best saying spot rushes.
Hey, Shay.
Kyle Grant is saying just popping in. Hope everyone had a great carnival. Thank you, Kyle. He goes on to say Nigel Telesford is a modern day scribe of TNT culture. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Right? And we have Shay Best with quite a lot to say. He says that's a real introspective question to answer on the spot. Right? I'm sure that is one of Katie's questions. Yeah. And then he's expressing Lord have mercy, and then he says like laundry fine people like get the forwards hour.
Boy.
You see, we are obligated to read all the comments here on Island Girl Talker. So
but she well put a disclaimer for me. He was trying to
then Shay goes on to say tie nothing. He says beautiful song but tie nothing.
Okay.
And that's it for the comments so far. Guys, we're gonna go to one more quick break and then we'll be back with Katie and the Empowerment Minutes. Thank you for sticking with us so far. And yeah, we'll be right back after these messages.
Caribe Hard Cider. Moments made extraordinary. We're back with more Island Girl Talk for you. I'm your host, I'm Krystal Khayne.
Katie C.
And we have Nigel Telesford in the house giving us all the juiciness.
I just got next one.
Oh.
A certain carnival band.
Tell us.
I've rarely used the masqueraders. Want to demand a last lap for free.
Oh, I heard about this.
To compensate for things that were not provided.
Okay.
That were paid for.
Wow. The man on the inside getting the news in real time,
He's
boy.
literally getting it.
But guys, now what we want to do is just at the end of the show, as we normally would, we would bring everything back to a zen place and give you a quote to just get you on your way for the rest of the week and into next week, of course, with the Empowerment Minute. Wusa. And we want to get Nigel in on it, so we're going to do one more. Right now, it's
Nigel,
time for the empowerment minute.
You have not seen my
Wusa.
legs crossed on the table.
Do we get your legs crossed?
Yes, they are. I do that all the time. I try to meditate
Zen.
sunrise and sunset.
Indeed. Guys, but we want to just set you right for the rest of the week. And Katie, you take us away with that lovely quote.
So this quote is from Winston Churchill.
Ooh.
And it goes, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts.
Ooh. I like it. One more time, Kate.
I said one more time.
For the people in the back.
People in the back. Success, my brothers and sisters,
My good brothers and sisters.
is not final.
Preach to
It
the
is
people,
not
Katie.
final.
Failure
Failure.
is not fatal.
It ain't
It's
fatal.
not even fatal.
It is the courage. What is
The
it?
courage. The courage.
It is the courage
With a K.
The courage to what, Katie?
to continue.
To
To continue with a K.
is what counts.
With a K.
It's what
That
counts
is all
with a
that
K.
counts. Right? The courage to
courage to
continue.
continue.
Right?
I don't know if
Of
we wanna go
course,
3
a
keys,
quote made famous by Winston Churchill. And of course, Sir Churchill was a British statesman, a soldier, and a writer who twice served as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. I like that quote, you know, the courage to continue.
You gotta fall in love with the
Right?
process.
Correct.
Indeed. And with that, we wrap
Like a roti.
our Island Girl Talk Show. Guys, we want to thank Nigel Telesford. Of course, put that camera on Nigel one last time. We want to thank Nigel for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Co-hosting with us.
Thank you
Nigel
for starting my new journey.
Yes.
Indeed, with your new magazine. Congrats. We can't wait for the
Magazine is
launch.
coming soon. Follow Overtime TT on Instagram.
Yes,
To get the
indeed.
link, to get the Zag and all the info.
Zagazine, boy. I can't wait. I can't wait. And of course, guys, thank you all for sticking with us and listening to us and participating with us.
Liking,
Big up.
sharing, commenting,
Yes,
everything.
like that live even
Calls.
now. Like,
Even
share, and
now,
comment.
You could go back, look at your favorite segment.
Indeed, indeed. We want to thank J Revolution as always for chiming in, as well as Dennis Tay and Dion Carrington for calling in. Big up you guys. And of course, I want to just make a quick announcement. Guys, this is our last episode for season 1.
What?
We've had such a fantastic run. When we launched last year in March, Island Girl Talk was just, you know, a thought in my head, and we just so happy that it has progressed into what it is. But we are going to take a long and much needed rest
Lent.
before we come
We're going
back.
to
What it
fast
is.
and
Yes,
meditate.
before we come back for season 2, where we'll have a lot of new surprises for you guys, just a lot of different things in store for you all. So keep it locked and stay tuned
They
for
got the
that.
moderators, the
All
button
right.
pressers, the
Every-
clickers.
yes.
Ananias, Monique.
Newness, new things coming for you guys. So we want to just thank you for just rocking with Island Girl Talk and appreciating what we do on this platform. And we will see you guys soon. Today's episode 51. We had our 50th
Area
episode
51
at
we went
Patrice
to.
Roberts' I Am Woman last week.
Wow.
Right? Which is a nice way to wrap it
50.
in. We interviewed Shaggy and saying, you know, Taurus
Excuse
Riley, you know,
me.
Alison Hines, and of
big.
course,
Yeah.
right here on our own soil, Super Blue, and come
big.
on, come
Big.
on. You know, so life in. You know, you start with one thing and you end up somewhere totally different. So progress is the name of the game, indeed, Nigel. And we just want to thank you all. So we will be back in a few weeks. And we will announce, stay tuned to our social media. We will announce when Island Girl Talk Season 2 will be back with all the newness, all right? Thank you guys so much. We love you all. And of course, I'm sending my love from Neicy and Shawna, who sends their love too. And we are Island Girl Talk signing out. Island Girl Talk, where women are free to simply be. Unapologetically. Keep it classy, guys. Bye.
Us let go. You gotta stop. You. Crazy. Can't believe what I'm thinking now. This ain't true. Hazy. Touching my emotion and boy, it's got me so confused. Lately you've been seeing that girl, Stacy, but I still stuck on you. I must let go. You got me stuck on you. You stuck on you. And I still want us to be together. Stuck on you. You stuck on you. And I still want us to be together. You. I've been patient and I've been waiting. Call me stubborn, but I can get over it. You left and never say goodbye. Those tears I cried, no, I can get over it.
So don't you ever let me down again. Cause I'm depending on you, so you better come through this time. Please hear my cry. And if I ever let you down, my friend, it was a misunderstanding. So if I took you for granted, then I promise from today I go drunk like I never drunk, wave like I never wave, wine like I never wine before, just to show you I'm sorry. And I need you back in my life. Look at people by the truck, emotions running high. We end up in the sky, tears running down we high. Can't you tell that we sorry? We sorry. And we need you back in we high. And if I come back home, come home to me, come home to me, come home to me. It's not no place like home. This is my apology. Follow me, come and see what you mean to honor. You're a treasure in my eyes, the greatest pleasure in my life. Cause when you left it bother me, honestly, hurry please, home is where the heart should be. Pretty feathers in disguise, back together we will rise. So don't you ever
Let me down again.
cause I'm depending on you, so you better come through this time. Please hear my cry. And if I ever let you down, my friend, it was a misunderstanding. So if I took you for granted, then I promise from today I go drunk like I never drunk, wave like I never wave, wine like I never wine before, just to show you I'm sorry. And I need you back in my life. Look at people by the truck, emotions running high. We end up in the sky, tears running down we high. Can't you tell that we sorry? We sorry. And we need you back in we high. And if I come back home, saying? Skinny Fabulous. Nyla Blackman. Boom! Cause I will never let you down again.
school. And come let we party in the engine room. Ooh, yeah. Well, how else we will survive if we don't create a vibe? This is a big part of the life, so soca must live and never die. In this party atmosphere, so sweet that I can't describe. So all the artists, you must be here, cause without an engine, can't stand, so we cannot dive. No oxygen tank, we got dipsy dive, so we got to come together and try to find a way, find a way. No more fight down, we got a unify. Let them keep the money, we not taking vibe. They go come run me down when you see them. Get this song when you're ready. Ready when the iron and the man ready, come go down. It's a vibe in the session when we jam into the steel pan. Come on, join the line, grab your bottle and spoon. It's a party in the engine room. In the engine room, we go jam it steady. In the engine room, we go get done passé. In the meantime, why don't you join the line, grab your bottle and spoon, and come let we party in the engine room. Hey, I'm telling you now, if we could just put aside we pride and let Jaja be we guide, then love will be the prize and no one will feel a type of way. You could get radiator and battery, new transmission from the factory. You can do whatever you want, but without an engine, yeah, can't start, so we cannot drive. No oxygen tank, we got dipsy dive, so we got to come together and try to find a way, find a way. No more fight down, we got a unify. Let them keep the money, we not taking back. They go come run me down when you see them. Get this song when you're ready. Ready when the iron and the man ready, come go jam. It's a vibe in the session when they jam into the steel pan. Come and join the line, grab your bottle and spoon. It's a party in the engine room. In the engine room we go jamming steady. In the engine room we go get on what say. In the meantime, why don't you join the line, grab your bottle and spoon, and come let we party in the engine room. We go get another party in the engine room. Ah, we go play a party in the engine room. Ah, we go play a party in the engine room. How do we do party in the engine room? So can we say, guys, so party in the engine records. All that to Shout vibes.
Best late entry of the century. Braga. Yo. I'm not going no small fret. Let me extend my apologies. On a big fret with big flag going overhead like canopy. Rag in my back pocket with a white vest, sneakers and wallabies. Knife tips and tight pants. I never really rate none of these. I come from brass festival and from customs and from flour mills. Was a fed fire fet and licensing fet and them had a power pill. Everybody gone nice and groovy bunchy. All you pushing power still. If it's me, you don't leave me with power on a hill. I ain't come here for no stand up. I come to party with my hand up. So all soca people put your 2-1 in the air. Your 2-1 in the air. Yo. Best late entry of the century. Braga. Yo. I'm not going no small fret. Let me extend my apologies. On a big fret with big flag going overhead like canopy. Rag in my back pocket with a white vest, sneakers and wallabies. Knife tips and tight pants. I never really rate none of these. I come from brass festival and from customs and from flour mills. Was a fed fire fet and licensing fet and them had a power pill. Everybody gone nice and groovy bunchy. All you pushing power still. If it's me, you don't leave me with power on a hill. I ain't come here for no stand up. I come to party with my hand up. So all soca people put your 2-1 in the air. Your 2-1 in the air. Your 2-1 in the air. I never come here for no stand up. I come to party with my hand up. All soca people put your 2-1 in the air. Your 2-1 in the air. All soca lovers do this. Show me your hand. 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 All I know is best late entry of the century. Braga. Yo. I not going no small fret. Let me extend my apologies. Only big fret with big flag going overhead like canopy. Rag in me back pocket with a white vest, sneakers and wallabies. Knife tips and tight pants. I never really rate none of these. I come from brass festival and from customs and from flour mills. Was a fed fire fet and licensing fet and them had a power pill. Everybody gone nice and groovy bunchy, all you pushing power still. If it's me, you don't leave me with power on a hill. I ain't come here for no stand up. I come to party with my hand up. So all soca people, put your 2 1 in the air. You 2 1 in the air. You 2 1 in the air. I never come here for no stand up. I come to party with my hand up. All soca people, put your 2 1 in the air. You 2 1 in the air. All soca lovers do this. Show me your hand. 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 Show me your all I know is bass. Feathers rough like sea. Going out all night. No go home before 3. When one fed done, we start a soca spray. So we go with way. We not ask why we no question mark. We take why with apostrophes. Get girl with more lyrical content than Socrates. She could have shaped like a triangle with a cosine of isosceles. Any other thing different when that is blasphemy. I ain't come here for no stand up. I come to party with my hand up. So all soca people, put your 2 1 in the air. You 2 1 in the air. You 2 1 in the air. All soca lovers do this. Show me your hand. 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 Show me your Santa Maria place. Diorino, girl rolling and pelting waist. Diorino, rags are bringing in your face. Diorino, don't matter who mash your lace. Diorino, I know about mash your place. Diorino, girl rolling and pelting waist. Diorino, rags up in your face. Diorino, don't matter who mash your lace. Diorino, yo, one way or the next side day, whether pay or free, if they don't let we taking ways from high so long as we can say. Now that's what the man we play. It's Maxis and Van Lows and my friend them start to gather up. Look, we bathe in the rainwater, all this so begging to ladder up. Who coming from down the river and small rocks at the paddle up? When you see me friend and them link up and we saddle up. I ain't come here for no stand up. I come to party with my hand up. So all soca people, put your 2 1 in the air. You 2 1 in the air. You 2 1 in the air. I never come here for no stand up. I come to party with my hand up. All soca people, put your 2 1 in the air.